Here we are back in the studio for another Super Saturday. Yes, a little something for everyone today. RP Live coming your way. Myself, Dave Orton, your host for another great Saturday. A little bit of something, as I say. Why? Because the flat is back. Now, all you all-weather fans will say it's not gone anywhere, but we are on the turf for the first time this season. Traditionally, it's Lincoln Day. 3 races over the mile coming your way. Don't worry, Jumps fans, we'll be popping to Newbury as well. Really competitive novice handicap and the Grade 2 mares final, and a little bit of Kempton for all-weather fans as well. The Rosebury, we've got a listed race coming your way as well. What's not to like? Globally, they're all over the place as well. If you want to talk about anything at Meydan, we will be giving them a shout as well. Dubai World Cup coming up at 4:50, isn't it? Great to have you on board then. Stick with us. Real-time analysis and reaction. We'll be having fun, more importantly, and an alternative view on the racing ahead. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook Live, get your social media questions in. Viewer interaction does make this show, as you know. If you're new to the show, we're in conjunction with the Betfair Exchange. We will basically be showcasing the functionality of that for you. We have to assume that some people have no idea what we're talking about. You will learn plenty, and if you're a seasoned pro, don't worry, you'll soon be in the know of something new as well. So, we start off 150 as ever. That will be Kempton, and we go into Camage, actually. 3:45 takes us off air. The godfather of the sprinters, Brando, he comes back out in that. Who's on the panel then? Tony Ennis, top course commentator, comes back into the studio. Happy days, Enzo.
Yeah, looking forward to calling the Lincoln and the Spring Miles. It'll be tricky, isn't it, for me today?
I consider you Mr. Donny. You're always there, aren't you?
Yeah, I did the last jumps meeting of the season there a few weeks ago. Ground began to dry out then as well. You could tell it was coming towards springtime. And I'm looking forward to it. You know, get the flat back. It's what I want, really.
It's a pleasure to have you in here. Got some strong opinions for us today?
Yeah, I think the Godolphin horse might win the Lincoln again. I mean, they won it. It didn't happen, of course, did it, last year, the Lincoln? And then Ozair, the ill-fated Ozair, won it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And just think that, mate, and James Dorr looking for 3 in a row, isn't he? A Dave, of course, before that.
Who beat Lord Glitters.
What a race that was.
They're both favourites near enough. Aren't they, for Group 1s internationally? Yeah. So the Lincoln is back in fashion. Never in and out of fashion is the man I'm going to introduce next. Graeme Rodway joins us back on the show.
Good to be back, Dave.
Happy days. I say fashion. You are looking forward to a haircut, aren't you, like Boris? But you keep saying this. But it's kind of finding its own life, isn't it?
Last week, I thought there's no way I'm going to get through the next 3 weeks. But this week, it's come back, hasn't it? It's like it's getting even more volume to it as it goes on. So what worries me is, you know, when you come back on April the 12th, there's going to be like queues down the street for the barbers, isn't there? And,
there are.
Yeah, so that should be interesting, but I can't wait for that. But no, it's a great day, isn't it? I love these days when you get the crossover. You've got the flat, the jumps, the Dubai. God, it's such a great day, isn't it?
You're like me and Enzo. We love everything, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
You would be have slight preference for the flat, wouldn't you, Enzo?
Slight, yeah, but I do like I like both of them, as you say.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky enough to be calling a bit of flat and a bit of jumps next week, so looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, it's great stuff. And why is the flat season so anticipated? Because there's a roadmap out of this pandemic. Let's hope that is the case. You know what? I was watching racing Down Under this morning. It was Golden Slipper. A Dave, of course, found his old rival a very elegant 1-2 good second. William Haggis did have a winner on the card, favourite Moon.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about the horse, wasn't there, going into the race?
Lots of talk. He could just be a cup horse this season, going forward potentially. Had crowds of 15,000 in at Rosehill. No mask, hugging and kissing. Unbelievable scenes.
How are they so far ahead of us? Extraordinary, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's another debate, isn't it? Let's now go to our man from Betfair, and I've been building him up slowly. We've got a newbie on the show. Happy to say Marc Hryhorskyj joins us. Did I get the surname right, Marc?
Yeah, you did. First time out as well, so quite impressive, Dave there. Stepping in for Barry Orr and Darren Hughes this week. Return of the flat season, obviously, as you alluded to. Here's hoping we can get some profit this afternoon for the viewers. And Wellchild, well in the process of showcasing the Betfair Exchange capabilities. We're currently winning 1,615 for the month of March, which is excellent. Hopefully they get to 2,000 mark by the end of the month for a great cause in Wellchild. Top work from Barry and Darren Hughes so far this month. Looking forward to the racing at Kempton, Doncaster and Newbury this afternoon, Dave.
Very much so. You've got some strong opinions as well, Marc, haven't you, coming our way, including in the first race. Shall we get the graphics up for the 150 at Kempton? There's a hot pot in here. Let's go to Marc then. He can tell us all about the spikes so far on the exchange.
Yeah, right now, Global Giant leads the betting for John and Farry Gosden. It's currently 1.54 to back, 1.55 to lay. This one was as big as even money this morning for small money. There's 117,000 matched in the market right now. Probably be looking around the 200,000 mark as they're off. But this one is short enough. It's been racing out in the Middle East. But I think this is more open than the betting suggests here. There's not a lot of early pace in this race. I think Sky Defender could get some cheap early sectionals without actually being good enough for win purposes here. And I think the way I'd sort of be looking at this race is I'd be looking to take on the second of the betting of William Haggis and Richard Kingscote's Fialek. It's currently trading at 4.2. I just think the way this race is going to be run, I think Sky Defender is going to make the running, potentially slow it down and kick round the bend. And I think Global Giant and Stormy Antarctica could get first run here. I can see Fialek trading quite short and running here, but it's one I want to take on for the win purposes. So that'll be the selection for the first race, taking on the second in here. Fialek is currently 4.3 to the lane, 4.2 to back.
Let's get this trade on then. Graeme Rodway doing the trading for us today.
Doing the trading today. So we're laying this one, Mark, are we? 4.3?
Yeah, we'll go for a £25 stake on at 4.3 right now. And I'm happy to take that price.
Okay, £25 and place the bet. And we've been matched. So
excellent.
Yeah, if anything other than Fialek wins, then we will win £25. If Fialek wins, it will be a minus 82.50.
Thank you very much, Mark. Okay, good stuff. And the first, I managed to get his surname absolutely nailed there. That was
good job.
The nap. The next best is I got the time in the first race wrong. I thought it was 150. Of course, it's the flat all change. It's the 145, of course. Unbelievable scenes. But, of course, the clocks go forward as well, don't they? It's all literally all change this weekend, isn't it? Mentioned Fialek. I'm going to get my selection out of the way, if you don't mind, because I'm locking on for the very first time with Mark. I looked at this. I thought a Global Giant lets rip down the home straight. Having chased a nice pace, yes, he will make odds on look like value. However, could be a bit of a stop-start race. We've already seen one race at Kempton at a novice stakes. Really tactical affair that was. And as Mark alludes to, where does the pace come from? Indeed, Sky Defender, maybe Storming Antarctic, maybe War Leader. But Fialek, 1 from 1 on the all-weather. This is a burgeoning association, this, by the way, guys. Richard Kingscote for William Haggis. Since Tom Marquand, Aussie Tom, as they call him, has gone down to ride at the championships at Randwick and Rosehill, Richard Kingscote's been coming in for a lot of these rides. And, you're hard-pressed to find a better rider on his day.
Yeah, he's flying along. He's going to be crowned champion, isn't he, next Friday? I think he's about 10 ahead of Holly Doyle, isn't he? So he's unlikely he's going to be caught now. He's in a brilliant winter, actually, isn't he? And he's certainly capable of stepping up into the turf season to ride a lot of group winners, I think. Yeah,
he only had 2 runs last year, this horse. He's 1 from 1 on the all-weather. Around here, that came over a mile 4. He can be a bit of a flatterer to deceive, as Mark quite rightly says. I imagine, Mark, he's one of those that, historically has gone short and not, produced off the bridle.
Yeah, absolutely. I can actually see this one trading well odds on and running and just not finding, because if they do go fast early, he will be coming there on the bridle. But I just have a feeling that Stormy Antarctic and Global Giant will get first run on Mark Johnson's Sky Defender. But I can't see this one travelling like an absolute dream. But just maybe filling the places, maybe not today for the win purposes.
Okay, that's interesting. They haven't met before, G, of course, a Global Giant and Fialek. First time tongue tie on for Fialek, which is an interesting move, I think, as well. He's regally bred, isn't he, this chap? And like Al Zarakon, who we're going to see in the next race in Rosebury, started off in handicaps, blew the mark, and he's kind of stuck in between listed and Group 3. They met in the Stevenson Stakes last time out. It was actually Fialek's second and only run last summer, and he came there just flattered to deceive. I think he had a problem or two. I just think the synthetic, I like it. I think he's got a 110 in him, that's for sure. Officially rated 113, a Global Giant, so that's why he has to be favourite, of course. Not just his liking. His synthetic form is all on to Peter as well.
Yeah, it is, yeah. It's a fascinating rematch, really, because on general form, you would say that Global Giant is the more solid of the two, but he is coming off a fairly moderate run, isn't he? Yeah. I know that it was
in Riyadh
in Saudi Arabia, but even so, would you want to be backing a horse at such a short price, coming off such a poor run? I don't know, what that would always rankle with me a little bit if I was looking at.
You're not doing that.
Odds on, so I would definitely be opposing the favourite Falek, no, that must have got gelded, didn't he, last time? I mean, for a horse with the pedigree like that. Yeah, I mean...
Not the plan.
No, well, that certainly wasn't the plan. I reckon it's worth taking them both. I'm going to sit this one out from a punting perspective, because I do think that it's... You know, people, they love this little cliche, trappy race, little race. What does that really mean? But I think it's a trappy race.
Yeah, and there's so much racing this week, isn't there? Of course, we don't have to play in every race. That's the message.
Never had a loser yet, by the way. John and Thady Gosden. They've had 2 runners. They both won.
Is it Thady or is it Thaddy? Marc, I think, has got the right pronunciation, actually.
It's short for Thaddeus, isn't it?
Yeah. Thaddeus.
Thaddeus is the full name.
So it's actually open to a lot of interpretation. Yeah.
Have you ever met a Thaddeus before, Dave?
No.
I've met a Thaddeus, but they call him Ted.
Do they?
Does that make sense?
We're already going on a tangent. We're already going on a Rodway tangent. Bringing it back. Let's get some social interaction from our viewers. Who's out there? Commander Von Rorik. Been quiet over the last month or so. Not today, however. And not a day to get carried away with, says the Commander. Beginning of the season. Lots of first-time out horses running. Not easy. Absolutely make you right. That brings me on to my next point. And this is a great race, this case in point. As Graeme has just highlighted. Really good social there. If you're not sure... If in doubt, stay out is the great saying, isn't it? But I'm going to be price sensitive today. Horses that I think will probably win, but I wouldn't be at the price. A lot of you out there, I know, just tell me the winner, man. Or tell me what's not going to win. Well, if you're in this for the long haul and you do turn over, price is everything. This is a day for me. Thank you, the Commander, for that. OK, who else comes on? Let's see what we got. And Duff's 9 says, Global Giant will get beat. The big old lay out there. Marc, let's go to you with this. You didn't just fancy just giving a good old lay of this then?
Well, the odds-on favourite. I just thought it could be quite trappy, and Sky Defender could potentially nick it from the front. I just thought the way the race was going to unfold, I thought Firelight was going to be at the back of the field, and I just thought Global Giant and Storm and Antarctica would get first run on the likely leader, Sky Defender. We could potentially look to lay Firelight in running here, but I just think laying this one around the 3-1 mark, I'm happy to kick things off today just for the win purpose here. I've got some more back to lay selections further down the line.
OK, that's it. There you go. So we'll be getting those off Marc as we go on. Selection time, please, Tony.
I think favourite wins this. I think he's just too good, Global Giant. They've got interest. They've got 7 runners today.
Someone had to go for him.
they've got 7 runners today, haven't they? Father and son, Gosden, I think I'll call them.
There we go. I like that.
The biggest price one is Al Miguar at 9-2. They've got
we both like.
Yeah, we both like. They've got Hakiki, they've got Mishrif, obviously. They've got a horse called Seven, who I'm really interested in, the maiden at Donny later on.
Had to get him mentioning Mishrif in, didn't you?
Oh,
you were so wrong on Royal Pagaille. Or Royal. All our regular viewers will know about the Royal Nap.
Betfair Chase is going to be his race. November.
Wouldn't come off the bridle was the line. But to give you a bit of credit, you were right on the show last year about Mishrif.
Mishrif, I did say that he was the best middle distance horse in the country, the 3-year-old, and he proved to be.
You think he'll win later on at Maidan when we're off
I think he'll be too good for Mogul and Chronogenesis, the Japanese horse, yeah.
We've seen some strange results over there so far today.
Have Space Blues beaten again at that race, 6 furlongs.
What won the 6 Alquoz?
Extravagant Kid, Ryan Moore riding.
That was a
big price. 3 favourites all turned over so far there.
OK, all right. Punter's not having a good time so far in the desert, but we bring it back to our own sand dune of Kempton. Just a word on the ground at Doncaster. We're going soon, of course. Is it 2 o'clock? I think it's the next race, isn't it, pretty much, that we're coming to. We've got another listed race, 3 races all over the course and distance. We get a lovely handle on where you might want to be on the ground. Any opinions on the draw in the Spring Mile? That's the consolation race, of course, isn't it? 2:35 for the big one itself at 3:10. Let us know. We'll give you a word on that. Graeme Rodway in particular, in his previews in the paper, he's crunched all the numbers on the draw. Got some really interesting stuff. However, David Carr, who's on track, we might be able to get a word with David at the track today, current racing writer of the year, of course. Paul Hannigan after the first says it's good ground. PJ McDonald says lovely ground, just on the easy side. And Kevin Stott, who rode in the Brocklesby as well. That was the opening 2-year-old race of the season. Exciting times. It's lovely and it's not fast. So lots has been said about the ground at Doncaster this week, but the jockeys complimentary. Happy days. OK, back to Kempton we do go. OK, so Marc, let's go back to you. What price is this Fav going to go off? Is are we looking at under 2-1 on, or?
He's slightly drifting. He's around the 4-7 mark just now. There's a little late money for Falayak. It's 3.95. Some money for Stormy Antarctica as well. I mean, that's 20s into 14s, 15-1. But there hasn't been that many movers. There's nearly 430,000 matched in the market right now. But I can see this one maybe going off around the 1.55 mark. And Falayak maybe 4.1, 4.2.
Happy days. All right. So You've got to be doing the calling today.
I am. Stormy Antarctic. He won a Craven, didn't he, many years ago?
Oh, mate, he's one of these. He's one of these horses that. What is he? An 8-year-old now, G, and he's sort of surprised to see him back. But he again, winning money every year.
He could run well, I think. He did the step back up in trips quite interesting. I think 2 of his best runs have come over mile and 1 furlong.
Windop,
tongue tie.
It's only his second race on the all-weather, but the time before he ran very close to his mark. His current mark now 110. So yeah, he's another interesting. He's got one horse that's been gelded. That's Falak. Look for him going smoothly until we'll ask some questions. Could the gelding just make a man of him? We'll find out. And we've got good old Stormy Antarctic, who has had a Windop as well. We're off and running then very shortly here this Saturday on RP Live. All change. Clocks go forward. Lighter evenings. We're on our way out. Better days ahead, as they say. And cannot wait for this flat season. Royal Ascot not too far off. Amazing how it changes very quickly, isn't it? OK. Good luck wherever you're playing in the 145. Let's go to Tony Ennis.
So we're just about set to go for the Magnolia Stakes, and they're off over 10 furlongs. A bit of a scrimmage leaving the stalls there. Stormy Antarctic got a slight nudge from Global Giant. They're racing over the mile and 2 trip then for the Magnolia, a Class 1 listed race. As we thought, Sky Defender is just about the first to show. Falak's going up to eyeball him, though, on the outside. So these two will lock on. Falak doesn't want to over-race. Global Giant is tracking him for Rab Havlin in the colours of Isa Salman Al Khalifa. Just behind those is Stormy Antarctic, who's been a real good globetrotter. He's won over 600,000 in career earnings. And the back marker of the quintet is War Leader Martin Harley, riding for Jane Chapel-Hyam at the back of the field. They take the turn, and Falak has gone on.
That's interesting. Let's go to Marc then as they go out onto the far side. Didn't see this happening, Marc.
Yeah, we certainly didn't expect Falak to be making the running here. He's currently trading at 4.2 to back, 4.3 to lay. Global Giant is quite keen on the run here for Rab Havlin. It's 1.42 to back, 1.43 to lay. Obviously, Sky Defender, obviously this one needed to be prominent. He's out to 40s right now. Stormy Antarctic hasn't really moved, 17.5 to back, 17.5 to lay. But interesting move from Richard Kingscote. Certainly didn't think any of us expected that one.
This is why punters love him, G, isn't it? Because he's a man with a plan. If you're not sure about a horse that needs to go by, get out in front.
Yeah, no, I love it when the jockey makes their own decision and goes and takes the bull by the horns. They were going pretty fast early on, but I think they've steadied it right up down the back straight, Enzo. What do you think?
Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it? Falak in front, in a nice rhythm now, but Global Giant's got every chance. He's just on his outside. He's travelling well, the favourite, as they turn for home. Behind those in third place is Sky Defender, and then comes War Leader and Stormy Antarctic is at the back as well. Now they're quickening. Falak in front. Is he a sitting duck, though, for Global Giant on the inner track, remember, at Kempton here. Just a 2 furlong home straight. Global Giant is moving like a good one now on the outside for Havlin. He hits the button for John and Tadey Gosden. This is going to be 3 out of 3. I think it's going to be 3 out of 3.
Yeah.
For the new father and son Gosden combination. They've never had a loser yet, and he's clear. Global Giant, the class act, running on Stormy Antarctic. I think might get second as Falak drops away pretty quickly. He's gone out like a broken light bulb, and he Falak back in third. Global Giant wins easily. 3 out of 3 for John and Thady G.
Congratulations. If you took the price out there, thought this is going to be straightforward. A great ride by Rab Havlin, actually, wasn't it, aboard the favourite? He knew that Kingscote was going to try and boss it. Not a bit of it. Got onto his coattails. And the Fav goes in the first race. Lots of you would have just had that in, no doubt, all sorts of accas. So congratulations. And that was the tried and tested result. You know, you get these formulas, G, don't you? You're a man for theories, as we all know. The pressure must have been on going into this. They didn't want it to be a damp squib, did they?
No, and it's not been, has it? It's been quite a start, but it was easy, wasn't it, for the favourite? I mean, it was one of those races where you sat there and you find all the reasons to take the favourite on, and then it wins by a million miles.
Yeah. If you didn't overthink that one, happy days. Let's go to the story of the market then from Marc.
Yeah, Falak, obviously with that big move at the start, I mean, he's only traded as low as 3.35 for small money. Actually, potentially thought he would have traded a bit lower, but obviously the favourite Global Giant, Rab Havlin, was always on his coattail and picked it up very, very early on. He's not went bigger than even money in the run. I mean, the race looked pretty much over as soon as he turned in. Falak spat the dummy out very quickly, but good start for favourite backers at Global Giant there.
Very much so. OK, that's Kempton. Bidding to make it 4 from 4 in the next there. That's in the Rosebury. I'll tell you what, when's this going to end? It's going to be on the next horse that we like, isn't it, of theirs?
Oh, yeah.
It's absolutely. You know how these things work. Sod's Law is the biggest thing in bunting. It's
got to end soon, isn't it? It's Gosden run. But that's extraordinary, isn't it? That one running yesterday, that one Regent at Lingfield, looked beaten all ends up. And then Rab just got her home, daughter of Frankel. Another horse in the earlier race at Kempton, the one Otis R. And now they just had that one extraordinary.
Never a word for Rab Havlin as well. You know, I like him during the winters because he knows these all-weather tracks so well. You're a bit hot and cold on him, aren't you?
Hot and cold. I think sometimes he gives horses a bit to do occasionally, but I think obviously he wouldn't be riding for John Gosden and Thady Gosden if he wasn't an accomplished rider. He's been there a long time as well, isn't he?
He's the top work rider there, isn't he? And
he knows the horses inside out. He knows
man
the
that
routine.
John goes to.
Yeah, he's one for one of my theories. The stable tactics theory, the stable politics one.
Here we go.
Have you heard this one?
You're
all ears?
Refresh me.
I'm listening.
All ears.
I know this one before.
When it comes to a big meeting, you've got all these jockeys that ride for like big stables, like Rab Havlin, for example, and there's others like Seamus Heffernan and loads of others who ride for big stables who don't always get the first rides, like because Ryan takes them all and Frankie takes a lot of the. I just have this theory that every now and again the trainer likes to throw him a bone, you know, in the big races. So, and it's amazing how many times you see it happen at Royal Ascot. Jamie Heffernan goes flying in on one, and then Rab Havlin goes in on
Mullins, battalions.
You've got to keep these guys happy. These are integral parts of the team, these lads, Rab Havlins and Jamie Heffernans. You've got to keep them happy with the odd big winner, otherwise they're not going to turn up and ride the rubbish all the time, are they?
Rab Havlin, thrown a bone aboard Global Giant, according to Graeme Rodway. Great stuff. I'm delighted to say we can go to Doncaster now. Let's get on the turf, shall we, for the first time in 2021. And it is the listed mile stakes. The first thing to say about this, guys, is that we believe Andrea Azzini has not taken up his rides this afternoon. I don't know whether we've broken this quite
Kevin
yet.
Stott's on him, on the Juan Elcano confirmed.
So, Kevin Stott will be coming up. So listen, we think this is a track and trace situation, actually. The story will be coming up very shortly on the Racing Post website. But I have seen on the news desk, we have a little chat open up every afternoon for that, which I'm party to. And, we believe that Andrea Azzini, let's hope he's all right, first and foremost. But Mr. Doncaster, isn't he? Even more than you.
Yeah, just having a look. There's stuff breaking all the time. Racing Post have actually got some on Twitter now as well. Andrea Azzini to miss his rides today after being informed of a positive test for coronavirus from a flight that he was on. So he hasn't tested positive, let's just confirm that. But he was on a flight, obviously. He was riding overseas, wasn't he? He was down he went to Saudi, didn't he?
Probably.
Yeah, and he's come back from there. But apparently somebody on the flight that he was on, and obviously on an aeroplane where there's no social distancing, is there? If someone tests positive on a flight you're on, then you have to self-isolate.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Days.
So Andrea Azzini, hopefully he's asymptomatic, but he's following the rules, but will have an effect on some of the horses he's riding. Father of Jazz, of course, was one horse. Was Callum Shepherd always on that?
I think he was. I'll give you his change now. Kevin Stott's on Juan Elcano.
Go for it.
Artistic Rifles, PJ McDonald in the Spring Mile. In the Lincoln Ascension is Callum Shepherd. And Emirati Anna, who I know you think's got no chance. Kevin Stott and the Camage Trophy.
Yes, OK. All right, so there you go. A big breaking news. We get it every Saturday. We are dictated to by the stories and the racing. And this is the great thing about RP Live. As it breaks, we'll get it out to you as well. Welcome along. If you just joined the show, we're one race down from Kempton. An odds-on shot has gone in. Will this be better luck for Team Haggis and Hamdan Al Maktoum? Because, Marc, there's another hot pot in this one.
Yeah, Montatham for William Haggis and James Doyle leads the bank. Currently 4.8 to back, 4.9 to lay. And second then we got Bounce the Blues for Andrew Balding and Ben Curtis 5.5 to back, 5.6 to lay. And top ranks quite highly fall for James Tate. PG McDonald takes the right 7.6 to back, 7.8 to lay. There's just under 250,000 match the market right now. You'd be expecting about 350, 400,000 match just before they come out the gates. But the one that I quite like in this race is Space Traveller for Richard Fahey and Kieran Schumark. It's currently 8.4 on the Betfair Exchange right now for win purposes. Ran a solid race last time out in the Queen Anne Stakes Group 1 on the 16th of June 2020. 6 of 15 that day on that occasion. Was only being 4.5 lengths behind Aidan O'Brien's Circus Maximus, who won the Queen Anne Stakes that day. I mean, finished second in another Aidan O'Brien or Order of Australia in the Breeders' Cup. Obviously, that was a ridiculous ride by the Frenchman that day from the wide gate to get across. But Space Traveller won the Boomerang Stakes as well, Group 2 on the 14th of September 2019. Highly tried, top rate here. I think he looks overpriced here. I mean, he's 8.4 to back, 8.6 to lay. So what we'll do is we'll have a £25 bet on the win. And what we'll do is we'll have a £25 bet on the 4-place market as well, currently 2.08.
£25 to win it. Got matched at 8.58, so nearly 8.6.
Yep.
And the 4-place market, we're doing
Space Traveller.
2.1.
Yeah, I'm happy to be a price. Yeah, happy to be a price taker at 2.1. Yeah.
25 again.
Yep.
£25 at 2.1 on Space Traveller in the 4-place market, and that one is match 2. So we're on win and
Excellent.
4 places.
There's the trade then. If you want to react, thank you to Marc Hryhorskyj for that. We locked horns in the first. That didn't work too well for me, but I'm delighted to say we're in agreement here. You'll be able to see my tip coming up on the screen now. I like Space Traveller as well, actually. Richard Fahey's won this race. Richard Fahey, Doncaster, goes hand in hand. And if he comes back to his best, he's a course winner, isn't he? As Marc said, all the form is there. He was a little bit easy to back in the day. And again, guys, the market, especially at the exchange, this tells you really whether your horses are ready first time out or not. You can, if you're a form student, you need a little bit of help with that, don't you, at this time of year? He's coming back in a little bit now. I think he's the class edge. I'm surprised he's as big as he is. Montatham is one of these horses that, listen, he's from that firm and James Doyle on. He may well be better than this level, as a 4-year-old, but a 5-year-old, I should say. But for me, he's in a little bit of twilight. So Space Traveller, 2 ticks.
Yeah, former Royal Ascot winner, isn't he? Space Traveller. Beat Space Blues, isn't he, in that race with the jersey a few years ago?
Yep. That was a right shot. That was when Tudhope.
Danny Tulloch could do no wrong when he was flying.
Could do no wrong that week.
Roger Varian's got a good record this race, isn't he? I think he's won it 3 of his last 4 runners.
That's why you're going for a Varian runner.
No, I'm not. I'm going to go with Andrew Balding's horse down the bottom, Bounce the Blues, the filly. She ran in that Scepter Stakes, didn't she?
Yes.
Behind a stable companion last Ledger meeting. Then she was second on her final run of the season at Newmarket. I think she's a sort of horse that she's got a good pedigree. I can see why they've kept her in training. I think they just want to get a group win onto her name this year, and I think that's the plan. Ben Curtis riding. Interesting that Ben Curtis getting the call up for Andrew Balding. It is
interesting. You'd imagine that Maidan's got a little bit to do with that, would you? I'm not really sure. Oshin probably would be on this, wouldn't he, or someone like that. She is interesting.
I like her.
Yeah, and he does really well with these horses that he inherits, doesn't he, for this sort of campaign. I thought she was one of the dangers to...
Drawn 1 was a slight negative.
That was going to be my question for you.
Over there.
It has pulled it off, actually, believe it not, what you might call the coffin box. But Sam Moritz in 2011, the late Dandy Nichols, took this out as favourite. Stalled 2 plenty of times as well, so a low draw, not all it maybe cracked up to be. I'm amazed you didn't go for a Varian horse. Amazed. OK, G-Rod.
Yes, the boring angle, isn't it, that I bang the drum about all the time. Bounce the Blues is pretty much the best horse in this race anyway,
right.
And he's getting weight from virtually all of them because she's a filly. So it's this filly's mare's allowance.
This is the tip,
all again, yeah. So
we're 2-way split on the Doncaster Mile. Love it.
Bounce the Blues, yeah. I mean, she's the best horse in the race, right? And she's getting weight from them. So why don't you back her? It's that simple.
OK. Why haven't I got her on my side? Good question. She's been pretty easy in the market, Marc, hasn't she, Bounce the Blues?
It's currently a 6.2 chance in the market right now. It's taking up around 17% of the total overalls. I'm just trying to find out exactly what price this is matched in total. There's been a little bit matched around 6.4, but nothing better. So, I mean, pretty steady on the exchange right now.
She's quite easy to back. She was favourite when I first looked at the race.
That's why, I saw 3s.
Was she around 3s yesterday when I was looking at the race for the paper? And just a minute ago, she was trading at around 5, and she out to now 7 now. So
she was beaten Fav when signing off last.
Maybe that would worry you from a fitness perspective.
That's what that was the thing. I was just like, is it the readiness of her? And still one, it was enough to just put me off. I do like the Ben Curtis angle though. So a 2-way split for you then in the 2 o'clock, the famous Doncaster Mile. What don't we like? I thought Father of Jazz. This usually goes to a first-time out of this race, and he was a bit exposed last time at Enfield, wasn't he?
He was fancy favourite for the Winter Derby, wasn't he, last time out? But he got outpointed by Forest of Dean and Felix in that race. I didn't think he gave him a great ride that day, Callum Shepherd. I thought he allowed Forest of Dean Rab having to do his own thing. Might be better off back on turf. I know he's by Kingman. He'll go on the turf fine, won't he? Top Rank was the other one I was looking at as a potential.
I like Top Rank.
I think he's got a big race in him this season.
Does he want slightly softer ground?
Yeah, I'm thinking that Dark Angel, isn't he? You want a little bit cut. What they're calling it, good at the moment, aren't they?
He was a win-win-win machine, wasn't he? And
yeah, I do like it. I think there's a race to be won with him this season somewhere. What about Juan Elcano? He had some good form. He ran in
third in the Guineas, wasn't
he? Yeah.
He's a pace angler, I think, isn't he, for you ends to be looking at. Now, this is where the pace maps are important, I think. They've got Beat Le Bon in here as well, who missed the break last time. Richard Allen's got loads of runners all over the place, actually, today. Quasar in there for him as well. What's the story? Okay, the last one is indeed going in then. Good luck in the Doncaster Mile. Let's go to Enzo.
Here we go then. Doncaster Mile, listed race, the straight mile, and they're off. They seem to jump okay. Just turning slightly right was Striding Edge, the big outsider. Montatham is up there early on, and he hasn't got any cover at the moment. He's the lighter of the greys in the race, but now he's going to drop in behind Beat Le Bon, who I thought would go forward. Beat Le Bon, not apparently going that quick. Haven't got the sectionals.
They don't want the rail ends, do they?
No, they're staying off the rails, just towards the sort of stands to middle at the moment. The yellow colours, Juan Alcano's up there, then comes Montatham. Striding Edge is in 4th place, Top Rank is in 5th. Bounce the Blues has got across nicely into a nice position now in the middle, ahead of Kesar, ahead of Space Traveller, and then behind those we have What's the Story. They're followed by Trey Flora. The back marker is the Father of Jazz.
Richard Hannon then controlling the race, G, as we come, around about near the halfway point.
Yeah, don't appear to be going massively faster. They're getting quite a nice lead here on Beat the Bon. A few of them in behind a Keen, and we're about to hot up, aren't we?
It is. It's going to pick her now, yep.
We've been having 7-minute jumps races to talk to. Let's go to Marc, though, quickly for an update on the market, which you can see in front of your eyes.
Yeah, Bounce the Blues is quite hot in the market just now. He's 5.9 to back. Montatham's 4.47 to 2. Top Rank's currently odds on 1.54. He's hit the front on that rail. He's 1.63, 2 to 1. Montatham's 2.6 now, so it looks like it's going to be between these two, Top Rank and Montatham. Top Rank's currently 103. It looks over. It's 102 at the moment, 101. Yep.
Top Rank's gone clear. Top Rank's gone well clear of Montatham. It's a finisher Greys, but there's only one horse in this. It's the top weight, Top Rank. He is good. Fitness. And he wins for James Tate.
Absolutely everything in this race, I would say. Half of them didn't look ready to me as soon as the taps were turned on there. Fair play. Ended up on the near side rail as well. Top Rank, and he's got a great first time out record. I wonder whether it might not be soft enough. I guess what the jockeys have said after that first race in the Brocklesby, there's definitely a nice cushion underneath, G. That was I don't know, it was pretty uneventful, really, wasn't it?
It was, wasn't it? Yeah, it was just like very, very straightforward first time out and up that rail, easy as you like. And if you're drawn towards the stand side in the next 2 races, you won't be complaining because they've come right up that stand side, haven't they?
And we have the consolation race for the Lincoln, the Spring Mile, coming up to you at 2:35. High numbers then, if you believe in trends from the first mile race on the course. We will find out. Usually we like to say where the pace is, basically. We'll try and map that for you coming up. But we've got to go back to Kempton for another race there. I think we've got Newbury on the horizon as well. Jumps fans, don't go anywhere. We'll be calling plenty of them home for you. Really looking forward to that Mayor's final, actually. Rosebury has been smashed off the boards. But if I had to have a nap today, I've been waiting for in this race all year. Team Tizard, John Joe O'Neill Jr. on. He's some rider, isn't he, young John Joe?
Yeah, he was brilliant again on a horse yesterday, wasn't he? At Newbury in the hurdle race. What was the name of it?
It was £10 clear, wasn't it? The John Joe, wasn't it? One
pink and light blue colours.
It was 100 to 1 everywhere bar the line.
And how good was he on the horse in the Midlands National as well? I've not been in since that Saturday.
Time to get up.
What a ride he gave that. I think he made a mistake at the third last. He had to go for plan B, didn't he? Which was go after the horse, but he was brilliant.
Future champion jockey, G?
Possible, isn't it? I am a bit loath to label these guys as future champions so early in their career because there's been so many who you thought were going to do it and then it never quite happened for them. But he's a good jockey, isn't he?
There's got to be a changing of the guard at some point, isn't there? I think, and I got a sense we're not too far off that.
I think so. Richard Johnson must be in his, if not his final season.
It is Dickie that you think about, I think. But there are others, aren't there, as well?
Harry Skelton's still quite young, isn't he?
Tom Scoo's getting towards the top end as well, a little bit.
Yeah, Harry's been one of the most improved riders, Harry Skelton, hasn't he, in the last few years?
Do you think he'll do it? Was he 5 off going into today? Something like that, wasn't he? They've been
I do. I mean, Dan Skelton's going to be carpet bombing these last few meetings, isn't he?
Part of me would love to see Brian Hughes get it because he's got obviously beat Dickie. Dickie got that injury, of course, last year, didn't he? And then the rest of the season was curtailed. So, like Liverpool winning the Premiership, there's an asterisk next to their name. I'd like to see Brian do it from a purist point of view because he's a fantastic jockey that does not get the recognition he should.
Yeah, I think it's... I mean, he had another 4-timer, didn't he, the other day at Hereford, Harry Skelton. He's riding lots, but how many... Brian Hughes just keeps on knocking in that one winner, doesn't he? He doesn't seem to have like 4 or 5 timers like Harry does, but there's been a lot of northern racing this week, isn't it, which really helped him, I think. And obviously Cheltenham week, he went and rode a winner a day, didn't he, more or less, whereas... Obviously, Harry Skelton was winless at Cheltenham, which helped.
Well, but he didn't go that clear, did he?
So look, far clear. He just kept ticking over.
Yeah, we love these narratives of the jockeys at the championships. Of course, Richard King's coat looks like he's all sewn it up on the all-weather. That will be next Friday. Good Friday for you. He's going to get that. And he's bidding to get back on top in the next race at Kempton. Real hot pot here. It's the long-established Rosebury Handicap. Let's get the market up. There it is on the screen. We know you love these new graphics. Keep your social interaction coming in with 2 races down. How are you about the change of the flat then? Have you backed anything that hasn't looked fit? Space Traveller, for example, in the last race, not fit at all, was he? Just did not get going once he had to fill his lungs. We're at that time of year. Ding, ding, all change. Will Al-Zarqan... I thought he was going to go off at evens, Mark. It looks like he's drifting a tad.
Yeah, Al-Zarqan, Richard Kingscote, William Haggis. He's currently trading at 2.26 to back 2.28 to lay. He was around, say, the even money mark this morning. It's currently 135,000 in the market right now. Again, I'd expect around the 300, 400,000 just before the off. This is actually one that, I think last time out got the run of the race at Lingfield on the 19th of December and got the better of Shining Example at Kempton on the 30th of November, who was really green that day. And obviously the third one, he's one of 75 extended trips. I actually think the step down in trips are negative here for the favourite Al-Zarqan. And off 95, I think it's high enough. So I'll actually be looking to lay this one in the win market and in the 2-place market as well. So, Graeme, if you can do the honours, be looking to take around 2.22 of a £25 lay there.
£25 lay of Al-Zarqan at 2.2. We've been matched at.
Yeah, lovely. And if you pop into the 2-place market as well, happy to take 1.55.
1.55, so this is to lay him to...
Yeah, 2 places, yeah.
Be out of the first 2. 25 again?
£25, yeah, that's great, yeah.
Okay, let's be matched now, yeah, at 1.55.
Excellent. Thanks, Graeme.
Al-Zarqan then, one of 2 Sheikh Hamdan Al Maktoum horses. I have to, of course, now say the late Sheikh Hamdan Al Maktoum. We did a feature show yesterday. G Spod talked about it a little bit. Let's bring ends at this point. It's in the black armbands. Yeah. Carried successfully in Group 1 races down under. Sad day, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It was...
you would have grown up with the colours like all of us, you know.
Fantastic. I remember sneaking out of college early on to watch Hryhorskyj win the Derby. 1994. It was
that's your favourite Hamdan Els.
The Wednesday Derby it was. I remember King's Theatre was in front. I thought, King's... And I backed Hryhorskyj, and then all of a sudden... I couldn't see him. He wasn't in camera shot, was he? About a 1.5 out. Then all of a sudden, Graeme Goo going, and here comes Hryhorskyj. But it's like he appeared and he won it. Really
legendary commentary, wasn't it? Yeah. That not to be forgotten. And you don't see many horses win derbies in that style.
Yeah, a really, really sad week then for racing. We've seen Prince Khaled Abdullah, of course, go through the winter as well. So, listen, the horses are going to carry on. Given the Tonic Angus Gold, the racing manager, they're formulating a plan at the minute. And Al-Zarqan, let's hope he takes out the Rosebury then. If you're on him, and Marc's taking him on, he's being bold. Which way are you going to go? I wondered if he might go odds on, guys, to be honest. That's why I sort of didn't put him up as a selection. We were talking the SAG when we were doing our feature shows, and I said, this looks like one of the most obvious winners of the weekend. He probably does want a mile 4, but he is a course and distance winner. They're starting off over a mile 2. He looks the proverbial, doesn't he, in a handicap? Group horse, of course.
He does, yeah. The main worry is the trip, because he's Golden Horn, and those horses really improved, don't they, for a step up in trip, and he won last time at 1.5 miles, and this is 1 mile and 3 furlongs. Having said that, as you say, he has won over the course and distance, so you wouldn't say it's a major worry, and he's going to be fully wound up. You would have thought Haggis's first time out, never too much of an issue there, and I expect he's probably had this race in mind as a starting point before kicking on to better things. I think he'll win.
Yeah, we did put him up on a feature show, didn't we? But as I said at the top of the show, I'm price sensitive today, and I did not expect Enzo Al-Migwar to be this big.
No, I've gone Al-Migwar in the end at the prices. I didn't think Al-Zarqan would be a 2.18 chance, but Al-Zarqan, he's the sort of horse I think will trade bigger in the run, you know, because when I saw him at Lingford, I wouldn't say he's a horse that cruises. He's a bit of not a grinder, but he's
blew up the clock that day, you know. It's by far the best speed figure in the race.
But he finds for pressure. I think he'll trade bigger in the run. He's almost the sort of horse you could almost lay him beforehand at 2.18 and maybe put in a back at 3.0 or something on the machine. But I've gone Al-Migwar. As I say, the new combination of John and Tady Gosden can do little wrong.
You just called him Tady. Where are we going with this? You're really confusing me.
I was happy by Tady, but you've kind of put the doubt.
Tady, I've heard him, you know.
Sown the seeds of doubt in my mind now.
So it's got to be Tady, isn't it?
I need to speak to him really.
Was it Thaddeus? Oh, come on, someone help us out there. How do we pronounce this horse?
I'm sure we're going to learn in the next few months because it ain't going to take long.
Let's have a quick word on Thady, though. He's been all over the place, learning his trade with some of the biggest trainers in the world. And you could tell last year, couldn't you, when he was doing a lot of interviews, he was going travelling when John couldn't be in one place.
Yeah, he looked after Mishrif a lot.
He looked after Mishrif
in the Saudi race, and he took him, I think, to France.
Did he go to the Breeders' Cup as well? Something tells me he might have done.
I think he did. Yeah. He was like he's been like doing all the a lot of the overseas trips for John, and he's just astonishing, isn't it? They've not had a loser yet. Al Migwar, I've gone with I think 5 to 1's a fair price. I watched him run last year. The defeat was over 1 mile 4, wasn't it? Back to a mile 3 here.
The fact they're coming to this race could be considered a hint in itself, couldn't it? I think.
Yeah.
He looked like he might. Before the pandemic struck, he looked like he might be one for the all-weather finals day, and he might. I almost thought, could he go and do maybe the all-weather sequence record or something? He was so good, including here. I just think 5 to 1 is,
it's too big a price.
It is absolutely. What's he in the place market, Marc? Al Migwar. That's the one I'm interested in.
Yeah, Al Migwar is currently an even money shot for the free place market, so there could be a bit of value there. And even if you want to use the additional place market on the Betfair Exchange, he's currently a 1.54 chance. He's a 4 to 7. So if you think this thing's nailed on for a place, you could potentially take that extra security in the 4-place market at 1.54. But there really hasn't really been any market movers in the win market here. Al Zarakan strong at 2.2, 2.4 to lay. There's nearly 250,000 in the market. Just going on to your previous comments regarding Harry Skelton and Brian Hughes, I mean, we've actually got a market on this right now. We're 5 to 6 the pair. And obviously Brian Hughes is 6 clear at the moment. And obviously close on the 24th of April, so the bookmakers can't really split it. We're 5 to 6 both, and obviously we've got the outside here 19 to 1. But just going back onto the 215, it's not a lot of movement here, and I do think Al Migwar is a decent bet, even money in the free place market. He's currently 2.14 now, so you've nicked a wee bit, potentially 4 there.
Happy days. A few gremlins there with Marc. We'll get that sorted out. Rob Lee and Will Carey, as ever in the studio, steady hands. Apparently, we're hearing that the camera angle we saw at Donny.
What happened there? Because I couldn't
It's
tell.
an inside camera. I'm sure you've seen it out there. It's coming up on a lot of sticks. Social media's gone mad.
I could hardly see who was placed. I saw top rank. I couldn't see what was second, third, and fourth.
Certainly couldn't see anything that was falling out the back. Which I guess when you're talking about exchange players, that's far from ideal.
It wasn't great coverage, was it? Second, by the way, was What's the Story ran well. Third was Montath, and fourth was Kesar. But I couldn't tell that in commentary at all. It was just all I could see was the massive grey, and that was it.
It's a bit
lucky that Marc was talking the story in the market, because of course he's just watching the numbers.
Yeah.
A bit like that one they have where
it's quite crazy.
It's in Ireland. You know, when it's in Ireland, they go alongside it sometimes when it's really foggy.
Fairy houses.
They're really close up. And sometimes it works really well, and other times it doesn't work so well.
They do it at Kempton as well, don't they? Did it at Lanzarote meeting. I don't like that, because they did it at King George, actually. They were on the inside. You could only see them sort of turning. Yeah, that 5 and 4 out at Kempton, when they come on the outside camera, it's one of the great sights of jump racing. So whatever you're doing out there, cameraman.
When are we going to start getting these spider cameras, like they have at the breeders? They have those breeders where there's one like on a line and it just follows them along. I wonder when we're going to...
Drone cams are great, aren't they?
Start getting those.
Yeah, we need to get them out there as well.
Are you one of those drone men, are you?
I don't have a drone. Have you ever tried to fly a drone?
Possible, aren't they? Not an easy thing to do.
Have you tried?
I've tried once. Yeah, I've failed miserably.
Have the kids got one? You've got 8 kids, haven't you? You've got so many children. I lose count. Ends.
No, he hasn't got.
You've got to have at least one drone among them.
My oldest boy wanted one, but I managed to talk him out. We borrowed someone else's to have a go at.
They are very, very difficult. I have tried to do
away.
a child's drone. Yeah.
I thought,
honest Gov. Let's go to a social interaction then. What have we got out there? Because something's coming up, I think, that might be quite pertinent. The constant duo to make it 4 from 4. Al Migwar says Duru Exuru. That's how I pronounce your name out there. You haven't given me stick for being wrong thus far. I even got Marc Hryhorskyj right. Come on, I'm getting better. And mind you, when I've got the likes of G next to me, some of the pronunciations that we have on this show are absolutely fantastic. Tom Collins' pronunciations, my Lord. No linguist, but thankfully Enns is here to
some calm.
Bring it calm. Quite right, absolutely. Okay, then they're not far to going in the Rosebury. This handicap's been around for years, G, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Used to be on turf, obviously, in the old days.
Yeah. Oh, the turf track at Kempton.
That Jubilee course, remember that course, the little spur down the side they used to start there? I used to love that.
Yeah, I remember going to, I don't know if it was this meeting, but going to Kempton when they were redoing it. years and years ago. And they had a big turf meeting there, and Dr. Massini was running there. He was long on, he got turned over.
Wow.
He turned into
remember the September Stakes that used to be there?
Yeah.
I remember Alex Stewart. You remember the late Alex Stewart trainer? He used to have hand-down.
May Lane.
Yeah. You what, sorry?
May Lane.
He trained May Lane, didn't he?
May Lane.
Oh, wow. Yeah, of
remember him?
course.
Yeah.
He was a great character, wasn't he, May Lane? Absolute lunatic.
May Lane down memory lane, yeah, absolutely. Okay, fantastic. Favourite hand-down horses over the years. Let's celebrate it. What a legacy he has left. Don't forget he had Isterbrack in his care as well. Unbelievable scenes. Get them in. Social interaction. We love it here on the show. If you're joining us, welcome along to the party here on RP Live this Saturday. We're nearly at Easter, aren't we? We're nearly back to freedom. Myself, Dave Orton, Tony Ennis, Graeme Rodway, and Marc making his debut from Betfair as well. Okay, ambling around. You can see the market. These new graphics are great, aren't they? We can see them up there. Yeah, Marc support coming right back in for this Fav then, Marc.
Yeah, the backer's definitely coming for this one now. It's taken up about 43% in the market here. The backer's keen on this one. This one could potentially go off around the 1.98, 1.96 mark. Just under 600,000 in the market at the moment. But your place angle as well, and second in Almagar. I mean that even money got quickly hosed up. It's 1.73 now for the free place market. So maybe one of our listeners took a bit of that. But the backer's definitely coming for Richard Kingscote and William Haggas here. And
Almagar's strong as well, though, isn't he? I mean,
he is strong, Marc.
Yeah.
They're all listening. So a Hamdan forecast you are expecting out there, quite rightly so as well. Pace-wise, I thought much would depend on the toe into this race for Al Zakwan, and I don't know. I guess you're looking at United front, but I'd be surprised they didn't revert to positive taxis after he got turned off over at odds on. He's got a good speed figure in there as well. Mick Appleby and Joe Gordon. Lorne Ranger.
Ranger will be going forward. Yeah.
He likes to do it. He's in 3 as well, isn't he? So I think he could go well at a price, couldn't he? Dark Pine, we've not chatted about him. What a great winter he's had for
in class today.
Stevie Donahoe, friend of the show as well. Stall 7, tricky, and he's been quite easy to back.
Yeah, it's a much deeper race, isn't it? I mean, he was with Dermot Weld, this horse, wasn't he? But he's been David Loughnane, what a winter he's had. And he, of course, had a very good 2-year-old filly, didn't he, last season as well, that won group races. Definitely a trainer going places, but might find this a bit tough, I think, Dark Pine. This is a lot harder, isn't it, running against these two horses, Al Zara Khan and Al Migwa. I mean, these are...
You just don't really know what you're up against. But one thing punters can do, like a lot of you know that they're going to be pretty where they want to be first time out with Haggas and Gosden, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. We've already seen, haven't we, with the Gosden horses, they're absolutely flying. And Haggas has got one of the best records, well, generally speaking, overall his strike rate's amazing anyway. But
one of my favourite trainers of all time, William Haggas is.
Yeah, he's super, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. All year round as well. Great talker, great for the game, absolutely.
It's a great pedigree, isn't it, this Al Migwa? By Dubawi to Gruder is the mare. So won the Oaks.
Gruder.
2014, Paul Hannigan.
Yeah, okay. All right, then, nearly off then in the Rosebury. 2:20. Good luck wherever you're going.
Yes, they race away for the Rosebury Handicap, a London Middle Distance Series qualifier, 1 mile and 3 furlongs. They're going here, and one of the first to show up is Lorne Ranger, as we thought. Also, Al Migwa, Rab Havlin wants to get a piece of the action on the outside. Dropping in behind is Kindergarten Cop. Favourites in about 4th. Al Zara Khan at the moment gets the trail into the race. Behind those is Dark Pine, held up today. Master the Stars on the inside. Then United Front ahead of Soto Sizzler. And the back marker is Gold Souk, who's about 5 lengths off the main body of the field. But Lorne Ranger...
running in the eye to Gold Souk, doesn't he? I think, look at that. He's 4 mile pace. They're going out to the far side. You called Lorne Ranger in front. It was an interesting move by Rab Havlin, though. Yeah,
I'm quite surprised. He was keen to get across from that draw, wasn't he? But he has got a nice position there for Kempton as it coming just off the shoulder of leader. He's going to get the first run into the straight. And the favourite maybe a little bit keen in behind, or do you think he's all right? Al Zara Khan.
Just throwing his head a little bit. Freshness, I would imagine, isn't it? Stevie Donahue's not having a great ride, is he? Don't want to be 3 wide at Kempton, do you, on Dark Pine?
No, he's not got a great position there, is he, on the outside, without cover as well, as you say, out in the breeze, as they say in America. But I think Al Migwa, I'm happy with him. I think he's got a really good position in second place at the moment, just half a length behind Lorne Ranger.
He can quicken as well, we know that as well. Anything else catching your IG?
Well, that's a no excuses position, isn't it, for Al Migwa? If he doesn't win, there's not going to be any excuses.
Kind of phrase there, my man.
Absolutely spot on, but I think you would be a little bit worried if you were Rab, because you have got the favourite right on your back, haven't you? He's got a right target to take him right into the race. And N said that he might finish strongly, this horse, the favourite, Al Zarakan. So let's see how he does finish off the race. He's just coming into the straight now.
Yeah, just past the 3 furlong mark. Enzo, call him home.
It's still Al Miguel coming to challenge Lawn Ranger. All the while, though, Al Zarakan is tracking Al Miguel. It's the big guns now as they turn for home. Dark Pines under pressure to the outside. Rab Havlin just takes Al Miguel to the front, but Al Zarakan, look at this, looks like he's just joined in, Richard Kingscote.
1-2, isn't it?
What
Sits
sort
on
of
the
horse is
inside.
this? Al Zarakan. Now Kingscote hits the button. What's he going to find? He's got on to Al Miguel in second place.
Yes.
And it's now Al Zarakan. Whoosh, away he goes. Al Miguel can't live with him.
That is
United
a whoosh.
front into third place, and then Soto Sizzler. But this has got to be a group horse, isn't it? Surely, masquerading as a handicapper. Al Zarakan out in front. Not doing a great deal in front, but he wins well enough. Al Miguel second, so 1-2 for those great Hampden colours. Third was United Front, not disgraced.
No, really good, strong form race that. And the 1-2, maybe not necessarily in the right order that you expected. It was the Hamdan Al Maktoum, the late Hamdan Al Maktoum forecast that you fancied out there. Would win, said Graeme Rodway. Let's give him the floor before we go to Marc for the story of the race.
Easy, wasn't it? I think we maybe saw a good horse that was a good bit better than the grade there. I don't think the second's bad at all. It's gone well clear of the third. Probably the first two smart performers. And I've no doubt we're going to be seeing this horse going up significantly in grade next time. He looks a group horse, don't he?
Yes, there are a couple of eye catches in behind. United Front, they did revert to slightly more patient tactics. He's a horse that does want to get on with it a little, I think, over a mile. Maybe not over a mile too. He's run well because he's been running through the winter in good races. The fourth was interesting.
Soto Sizzler.
Yes, if you read in your members section this morning, a first run for David Menuzier.
William Knight, wasn't he? Look at him. When Epsom going to come back soon, aren't they? There's a handicap there.
There is.
In April.
There is. Absolutely. He'll go to the Great Met, won't he? That's the one. The Great Metropolitan. We're not far away.
For Epsom to come back.
Happy days, all these great races coming back onto the calendar. Of course, we missed all these races last year when the pandemic hit, including this weekend. Happy days are here again. And if your favourite back in at the minute, Marc, you're in Clover. They knew that one, didn't they? What, around about 2 furlongs out?
Yeah, they definitely got it right. Didn't trade higher than around the 2.2 mark there. I think Richard Kingscote had this one in the perfect spot and just pounced 2 out. There was plenty in the tank there. Got that one wrong, but I mean, Luke's 100+ horse, that one. But again, I agree with Graeme. I think the second, Almagar for Rab Havlin, looks quite smart as well. Definitely one for the notebook. Those two look well above their mark here, well in front of their mark. But onwards and upwards, you can't win them all.
You can't win them all, Marc, but listen, you're showcasing the functionality of the exchange. You've got to play in every race. Of course, as a punter, you don't do that. How are you finding the show so far, Marc? Enjoying yourself?
Yeah, excellent. That's been good. Obviously, hopefully, get a couple of winners. There's one I fancy here at Doncaster, 235. Potential back to lay here for our end trading viewers. So we'll see how that one goes.
Well, shall we, without further ado, get the market up on the screen then? 235 at Donny. It is the consolation race for the Lincoln. It is the Spring Mile, which can go to a very good horse indeed. And as you might expect, Marc, it's anybody's race according to the market.
Yeah, it does look like a bit of an absolute minefield here, Dave. Global Esteem heads about 9.2. Acquitted was favourite earlier on. It's about 7.6, 7.8, but that's drifted out to 9.6 to back, 9.8 to lay. But the one I actually like in this race is Anything Today, Adam Kirby and Roger Fell here. This a tricky customer, this one, but travels well, often finishes weekly.
Good draw, Marc.
Yeah, and obviously pretty shorter in the BSP in the last 4 runs, most notably at York on the 6th September 2020, BSP of 13.63, hit 1.14 and finished second to Mr. Carpenter. And at York, the 22nd, 2020, he's 50-1 that day, and he's hit 2 at 5, 1.4 and run and finishing 5th. So this one often travels well. So this will be my selection in this race. And obviously Adam Kirby on board is definitely a positive as well. So what we'll be looking to do on this race, Graeme, is we're looking to do a back to lay here. Sure. Obviously, I'm looking on the exchange right now. It's been a bit of money for this one. This one's trading around 20, 26s, 27s this morning. It's currently 19s, 18-1 to back, 19.5 to lay. So we'll have a £25 win on Anything Today. And what we're trying to do here is we're trying to create a green book, and we're trying to lay this one off in running. So what to do as well is if you can put an in running lay around the 9-2, 5.5 mark, and hopefully we can get matched on that. I'm happy to take that price just to keep that there at 5.5.
Okay, and 25 again, Marc?
Looking to lay this one at 5.5 for an in running lay.
For 25,
hopefully this one can get matched. There's a strong traveller. And obviously the idea here is to obviously showcase the exchange capabilities and have a green book.
Yeah, it's important to click the keep, isn't it, for in running?
Yep.
Keep
That's
in
the one, yep.
running. So that is on, and yeah. So if anything today touches 5.5 in running, then yeah, you'll have your green book.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, you can see that happening, can't you, guys? Actually, absolutely. And I want to come to you, Enzo. Jumped in there and said, "Good draw." Now this is what he does. We know that he's a bandwagon man. You've seen one race over the straight mile. Something's come stand side. And you think it's all going to be high.
I think so,
But,
yeah.
G, would you like to crunch... You've done the numbers as succinctly as possible. What should we be expecting from the two races in the draw today?
It's a very confusing picture. I mean, you said to me that you thought that the Spring Mile didn't predict the Lincoln earlier.
Yeah.
But overall, there's very little in it. Maybe slightly high, 19, 20, 21, really high would be ideal. But across the track, in terms of percentage rivals beaten in both races over the last 10 years... very little in it, like from one side to the other.
So not just winners, basically.
The whole field, there's not a hell of a lot in it. But what has tended to happen in terms of percentage rivals beaten in the last 10 years is that the side that has beaten more rivals in the Spring Mile has also been the side that's beaten more rivals in the Lincoln. So the best thing to do is to watch the Spring Mile.
And you have done so.
And yes.
And what happened? They've sort of come down the middle a bit. I mean, I know this, as you can probably tell. I'm sort of setting him up.
No,
You don't get splits, do you?
No, they generally run in one group, middle to high.
Which
Generally.
you're delighted about. There's nothing worse as a commentator, is
Oh,
there?
when they split to two. I mean, I was watching old Lincolns back, and they just split to three groups almost, in the old Lincolns.
Well, they still do that on the Rolling Mile, can't they, in Newmarket?
They do.
You know,
Hard
you
to watch, isn't it? Hard to line up who's
get
in
foreigners watching our British racing, and they're like, "What? What?"
Yeah. I remember when the first commentary I did at Thirsk one day, there was like a 22 runner 5 furlong handicap. It was about my fifth time.
How many
commentary.
groups?
I went 3 groups, and I'd never actually done a race on the turf.
Have you
like
not
that
been
before.
back to Thirsk since?
I was in front. It's like, where do I go? Because the monitor like followed one as one. And it's like, would I go to the near side? And then,
I have to say that
it's
when
difficult.
you try and do the race calling, perhaps you fancy yourself as a bit of one at home. Loads of armchair commentators out there, like they're armchair jockeys, armchair clerks of the courses. It's not easy at all. Let's get some tips in then. Okay, so anything today? Roger Fell, Adam Kirby. It was a little bit Roger Fell in the news a little bit this week, wasn't he? Because he went up to Doncaster and took a picture of the ground, and which caused a bit of alarm.
Well, you're not allowed to question these guys, are you?
What, Clarks, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, you're not allowed to question lots of people in racing. And, Roger Fell had the temerity to do so.
Right, which, but what he also did was he took a picture seemingly of, it was very patchy ground basically, and and there were loads of people coming out and saying, well, they water during the summer, race during the winter. Of course, that was a cross section of the jumps and the flat track. There are different tracks on the Town Moor at Doncaster. So Roderick Duncan, Clark of the course, came out and said, well, that's a bit unfair, if you look at the rest of it. But he did admit the grass covers were not where it wants to be. Yeah. But he's dictated to by the weather a little bit, G, on this, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks fine, don't it?
do you think they need to have that meeting during Cheltenham, that jumps meeting, because that never used to be there. That was a toaster meeting.
I think there's a little bit of greed there, but
do they need to have that fixture?
There was hardly any. You commentated on that, didn't you?
It was low key. There weren't that many runners. Just have that somewhere else and get Doncaster ready for the start of the flat.
Yeah, well, it makes sense, wouldn't it?
But the riders have been complimentary about the grounds. We'll try and get some race times in for you. Should say, actually, Ben Blackbarn from our social team very kindly mailed me to say Brentford Hope, non-runner in the Lincoln, talking about the ground. Jamie Spencer, Richard Hughes, out. He would have been a very fancied runner as well. And he's thought to be a horse that likes a bit of cushion underneath, isn't he? So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a shame, that, isn't it?
yeah, great comment by his trainer Richard Hughes on it when he comes off the bridle. That's him done. Go to your members section. Look at your replays ahead of all these races. That is the key thing with these horses. You've been used to the jump season, used to your weather. The turf horse is coming back. Massive database of previous runs. Trust your eyes. That's what it's all about. Take in the comments as well. You can get all the nice quotes on your members section on the website as well. Okay, how far away are we from the Spring Mile? It's going to be a bit of a call. I've got a feeling this might be pandemonium. Where's the pace? That would be
busy,
the
isn't
next
it?
question.
There's another one that's just seen Born to Be Alive out the Lincoln as well. I didn't see that
Tips. I'm being told tips.
Tips. Okay.
I'm having a shocker today. Okay, I'm going to go first. And I say I'm having a shocker. I wanted to take a flyer here.
Go on.
And a horse that I thought might sneak in to the Lincoln is Interfaith. Is a son of Intello for the aforementioned David Menuzier. Reese Clutterbuck is a young rider claiming 5, who I think...
It's quite good, isn't he?
Yeah, he has impressed me, Reese. I've got to say. He's been plying his trade on the all-weather. This is a completely different kettle of fish. He's drawn lower towards the far side of stall 5. I saw some pace around him. And this horse, on a line... what was the horse who just beat him in France? He has been doing most of his racing in France, like a lot of David's horses do. There's a horse called Go Down Ziegfeld, it was called, last August, that beat him. He's now rated 113, basically. He's a proper group horse. And he only just got touched off on him. The softer ground might be all right. That might be ideal. Maybe he's got something like the Hunt Cup at Hryhorskyj on his mind. But I thought at a price he'd go well. He'll do for me. Graeme Rodway.
I'm with Marc. This is one of my big bets of the day.
Whoa.
Anything today. Yeah, it's my headline selection in the paper today and on the website. And I think that he's going to go really, really well.
For the reasons that Marc mentioned.
He travels like a really good horse.
You were enjoying putting that trade on then.
I was, yeah. And he's down to a mile. And he's been run over a mile and a quarter. He's got some really good figures over a mile and a quarter. I just think he's going to have the speed for a mile.
What odds Roger fell after his somewhat controversial social media video of the track midweek? We didn't talk on it actually. It was actually not his comments. He just filmed it. A lot of people came out with alarming comments. But what odds him to have a winner? You do see Sod's Law is typical, isn't it?
Well, I hope so.
Yeah. Adam Kirby, absolutely superb over the straight mile. Drawn 22.
My thinking on it was, I looked at the Lincoln on Monday, and just one all stood out for me in the Lincoln, and it was Anything Today. And I literally was just about to place a bet on him for the Lincoln, and realised that he wasn't probably going to get in.
Try and work out where the cut mark is. Of course, Dubai Souk was the unlucky horse, I think, if you like. And I thought actually for the boys in blue, the 4-year-old might have a say as well. Very easy to back, which puts me off slightly, I must say. So 2 for Anything Today, 1 for Interfaith. We're going for big prizes. Enzo.
Arctic Vega, despite the fact he's in stall 7. But
Love Andrew Balding.
I love Andrew Balding, yeah. I like this horse. Look, he had a run at Newcastle. I watched the video of that race, and he did it well enough there. And so he's not going to lack for fitness, Dave. He had that run in February on the Tapeta there. Looks like he's strong as well. He galloped to the line, which you need to do at Newcastle. I think he's potentially quite a nice horse. William Carver takes 5 off, brings his weight down to 8 stone 6. If the draw's not an inconvenience, I think he'll be in the frame, this horse. I thought he was a big price at 12 to 1.
Shall I give you the draw of the last 5 winners in order? 8, 4, 6, 1, 3.
So as low is good then.
And then you flip to the Lincoln half an hour later and it's all high. So what Graeme says is it doesn't really matter across the track. They tend to follow the leader. That was the point, the end point of your crunching numbers.
The end point essentially
Lemmings, we called them.
Was that it's up here with the jockeys.
Yeah.
When they see what happens in the Spring Mile, a lot of them react to it and then follow that side.
The leader.
Yeah. Essentially, I think the best horse will win.
Isn't it remarkable how they don't like rails on these straight courses a lot of the time these days? At Ascot, you're often shouting at the screen, aren't you? If you watched Ascot over the years, you're like, well, go out the rail, man. But they do. Jockeys don't like to go to the rails. I don't know whether Clarkson courses have thought rails might be quicker in places and tried to react against it. I don't know.
Depends on the.
They love them on the all-weather, and it's not the place to go.
Depends on the ground, don't it? Sometimes at Ascot, they've got that big grandstand, haven't they? When it rains, sometimes the theory is that the grandstand blocks out some of the rain on the stand side towards the finish, and I think it depends on the ground.
Okay, all right, fair enough. It depends on the ground then. Okay, all right. Just to pour some cold water onto your selection. Not that I've been quite looking forward to doing this. 9 of the last 10 have been making their seasonal reappearance. You've gone for something with 1 next to its name with fitness there.
I'm happy with, but I think
you'll buck the trend.
Yeah,
it's unusual for you.
Yeah, I think that I like Arctic Vega. I think he's a big old price here. Andrew Balding bounced the blues. I didn't really see what happened to her. I couldn't tell what happened to her in that race.
Travelled very well, but didn't pick up and shaped to me like needed the run.
Market was right about bouncing the blues. Yeah. And again, the great thing is, you don't have to play in these races. We're all learning about the flat season ahead. Who's going to be the pin-up boy or girl of the current season? What's going to win the Arc? Let us know. Keep these questions coming in. Viewer interaction. Because the races are much quicker on the flat, we are going to Newbury, not too far away. Of course, we've got time in between them to chat. Lots of viewer interaction. Happy days.
A lot of Guineas chat, wasn't there, this week about Santa Barbara? Did you see that? Aidan O'Brien giving a big report to her. And
it's always this time of year where there's stable tours now, of course. The press junkets are all done virtually. Well, most of them done virtually, of course. Usually it was a great big press junket that go over and enjoy a great day out at Ballydoyle. Not this year. But this is when the leaks start to happen. These 50 to 1 shots.
She's rated, though, isn't she, Santa Barbara? I like Wembley for the 2,000. I still think he's about 9-1. I think it's
Thunder Moon wins the 2,000. Granted, decent weather.
No, Wembley wins.
Thunder
9-1.
Moon wins.
Ryan Moore rides it, wins.
There we go. You're going for the obvious one again.
9-1.
It's absolutely typical.
How's that the obvious?
Absolutely typical. Any Guineas thoughts before we get last market update from Marc?
Not particularly. I just thought they were a really poor bunch.
Oh, here we go. We haven't got time for these. Look, do not pour cold water on a flat season on the first day, G. Unbelievable. See, are they a poor bunch, or is there really 2-year-olds coming, 3-year-olds coming that you love? Difficult year last year, of course, weren't they? All had to be rushed for Royal Ascot. Will we see some backward sorts, do you think?
Yeah, there's a good chance we will. Maybe this could be a year when the Derby is won by a horse who didn't run as a 2-year-old.
Oh, man, was the last time that was done? Rule of the World, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah, you're right.
Rule of the World? I'm going to say Rule of the World. What about the Derby last year? One of the craziest races ever seen.
The winner's just done nothing, has he?
Sovereign.
He's just disappeared,
Was it Sovereign?
No,
that was
Serpentine.
That was the Irish Derby winner that did the same.
Serpentine won, then did nothing, did he? Got beaten.
Got to get our heads back into certain modes. Are you still in Cheltenham mode? Are you looking forward to, of course, next weekend we'll be back with some Fairy House action. Irish National coming to you a couple of weeks' time. Cannot wait to do the National. Are you coming in here on National Saturday?
No, I'm at Lingfield National Saturday, so I won't be here.
Why?
Because I always do Lingfield on Grand National Day. It's kind of a little traditional commentary gig I do. Love
Is it?
Yeah.
That's pretty typical.
Might be the same this year, though, without a crowd, obviously. But the owners are allowed in Monday, isn't it? The owners are back.
Fantastic news for
Well, on
owners.
there
Yeah,
Monday.
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Is it 2 initially?
And then
6 on Friday, is it?
4, I think it's 4
4,
for...
is it?
And then 6 for the national meeting, Aintree, 4 for all the championship.
We're going to start seeing more social runners.
The
in
rule of
races
6.
again.
The rule of 6 owners.
Let's go to Marc then. There's about 6 or 7 to go in then, Marc. Since we've been chatting away and digressing, where are the spikes going on the real market that is the exchange?
Well, unfortunately for me and Graeme, anything today's out to 25s on the Betfair Exchange right now. So you might want to go in again, Graeme. But global
What's
esteem.
up to global esteem, Marc? It's just what's happened? Is it lost a leg?
Yeah, big drift in the market. It's nearly out to 20-1 from 10s, doubled in price. Yeah, they seem to have came for Poet's Lady. Another one for David Barron, that's 8.4. That's trading roughly in 15-2. And another one for Paul Hannigan and Richard Fahey. I mean, this one has had a run 47 days ago. Amy's amount 8.6. To be honest with you, I don't really know if people of the exchange can decide which way to go here. And you'd imagine if they've got that camera angle again in this race, there could be absolute mayhem in running here.
We haven't even mentioned Acquitted, have we, with James Doyle on that's Palace Pier form, isn't it? Everyone thought it was a certainty when
He
has had a few
traded odds
problems.
on in running to beat Palace Pier, didn't he? Acquitted.
Absolutely.
Newcastle.
We covered that here on RP Live, and Bruce Millington was in. Absolute scenes in here when that was going on then. OK, we're nearly off then. It is the Spring Mile. Whittling along, aren't we, on the show? Welcome along if you just joined. We're about to see a cavalry charge called home by Tony Ennis. Good luck wherever you've gone. If you've gone for some exotic bets here, let's hope they go. Have you backed the draw? Have you gone for the market? Let's go over to Enzo.
They're off for the Spring Mile then, and they're going to go to 2 groups. Looks like there's a cut-off point in the middle there with Dawalib as they sort themselves out. Citizen Surge, I think, as well, is going to head towards the far side. That might be the cut-off point. Towards the near side, I can see Artistic Rifles, one of those drawn high. Overrights there as well. And also, Anything Today is on the near side as well, drawn high. The Drifter is up there as well. That is Global Esteem. The far side group, led by Dubai Souk and Dawalib at this stage from Citizen Surge. And also there is Arctic Vega towards the far side as well. As they're now converging, aren't they? Look at that. They're becoming almost into one group now.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, they don't really want to know the rail, despite the artistic rifle goes. Gee, around about halfway then in the Spring Mile, who's catching your eye?
This is what tends to happen in these big handicaps. They all start off in 2 groups, then they do converge as one.
Yeah.
So we will see whether you do want to be up against this stand side rail like that last winner or not. They're fast fractions, so maybe this is going to go to something that's coming from off the pace.
You'll be hoping for that for anything for today, because he's just winding up on the far side now. Kirby getting interested. 3 furlongs out, Enzo.
Acquitted is going well near side for James Doyle making ground. But up front, it's still Artistic Rifles and PJ McDonald. But here comes the strong travelling Acquitted off in chase. Poet's Lady's making ground from the back of the field. But up front, Artistic Rifles is leading. Acquitted, though, James Doyle, here he comes. Could he do the big double today? He's got Eastern World in the Lincoln to come. And Acquitted now for Hugo Palmer has got on. Artistic Rifles is trying to fight back with him. Of the others, Queen Sergeant and Spirit is staying on as well.
Spirit
is flying home late. Acquitted from Spirit up front. Acquitted all out for the Doiler. Artistic Rifles comes back. Artistic Rifles has got back up. PJ McDonald Acquitted second, third Mostawa, and then came Spirit. What a race. He's fought back, and I'm afraid Andrea Azzeni has missed a big winner.
Oh, no, absolutely. Your poor old Andrea
That's the way, isn't it?
forced to miss out then. Artistic Rifles up there throughout, G. And again, a kind of mid to near side, isn't it? Anything far side struggled a bit there.
Yeah, they did, and it was hard work, wasn't it? No,
Quitted travels well, doesn't he? How was it? Quitted travel into his races.
Shaped like the best horse in the race.
What do you? Yeah, okay. Look, we'll pick the bones out of that. You heard Marc screaming for Spearad. He's one of the only ones that's got involved off the pace, Marc.
Yeah, just going to a quid first. I mean, that one's hit 1.12 and running there for £158. I think myself and Graeme knew the writing was on the wall with anything today. Just wasn't travelling under pressure very early under Adam Kirby. But Spirit, I mean, did look like it was coming there at one stage. I mean, it's hit even money in running for Betfair SP of 32.72, and the high on Artistic Rifles. I think this one has hit quite high in running. It's been matched for £4 at 46 in running, so someone got that one on running there, and obviously Azzeni won't be too happy of missing a big race winner like that.
Absolutely not. The King of Donny forced to watch on. It was a bit of a slow motion finish, G, wasn't it? You know?
It was hard work. I think Stamina's won it for the winner. He's won over further in the past.
And he'd had a run over Acquitted as well, so
helped, yeah.
that has broken the trend. The wrong one for you.
Ground is a bit softer than I thought it was going to be, isn't it? It was good, given it's good 7.3.
They went fairly quick by the looks of that. And
Just listen to these Clerk of the Courses, we should, shouldn't we? 7.4, the going stick, which is, goodish ground, isn't it, basically? So there is definitely still a little bit of winter moisture in beneath.
it's still March, so you're not going to get rattling.
Do you remember this time last year? I was having some time hops, which is what was happening on your phone, your social media this time last year. Baking, weren't we? After a really wet Cheltenham. Cheltenham started heavy, and amazing how quickly it can turn. We're just a week too soon for Roderick Duncan. But I think fitness, absolutely everything there, wasn't it?
With Acquitted, would you put the blinds on him, maybe blinkers or something? What do you think? Does he need something just to...
He came there travelling real strong, didn't he?
Yeah.
Maybe he just needs an easier test, maybe.
Or maybe they hit the front too soon with him. Maybe they're just hold him up, hold on.
He basically did what he did against Palace Pier, didn't he?
Because he definitely went on, didn't he, at one stage?
He travels like a real good horse, don't he?
I think he's going to have to... He either needs maybe playing even later, or maybe some visor or blinkers.
We should give a nod as well to Ed Bethel, of course, who's taken over.
Yeah.
James, his father, big year for Ed, and one of the what you might think is a rookie trainer, but basically has been assisting his father. James Bethel, one of the long-standing names in the game. Great training performance there for a really consistent horse. And stall 21 has beaten stall 19.
High draw was right. Look at that. If I'd gone with that theory.
So
not the one.
Spearad's run a blinder, isn't he? Basically, stall 1.
Yeah, I didn't. Spirit, I'd be watching at the all weather. I didn't think it'd be good enough to run in a race like that, but it did run well. And Mostawa as well, which you mentioned, didn't it? That ran well.
Yes, for Heather Main.
So is there going to be a bit of a herd mentality now here, Dave, for the Lincoln? They're all going to be just edging towards this stand side a little bit?
I make you right, G. I make you right. That number crunching has worked out, old son. Congratulations.
Although but you're saying that the winner will now come on the other side, aren't you?
It's usually low then high. So if it does turn on its head, I don't know. I've gone for something drawn high in the Lincoln, I've got to say, but we'll get to that. I think we've got to go to Newbury next, guys, haven't we? Lovely. Some jumps racing and a real trappy heat coming up here. Marc Hryhorskyj.
Yeah, around Newbury, the 250 novice handicap hurdle. We did have the 8 runners for the each way terms on the sportsbook here, but Nicky Henderson's Hooper is a non-runner. However, this doesn't deviate on the exchange. We've got the 2, 3 and 4 place market available here. I'm going to take advantage of that in this race. My selection is Pressure Luck for the win in 4 place market here. I do think you've got Good Ball at the top of the betting here. The weight for age allowance is obviously a factor here in the pricing. Good Ball's currently 3.3, around the 9-4 mark. Betfair ambassador Paul Nicholls, who trains Good Ball, did say in his most recent article on betting.betfair, he's crying out for the step up and trip to 2 mile free, and has sound claims of a mark of 131. However, I want to pause Good Ball here. Looked like the winner last time out and traded 1.3 in running, finishing second. Wasn't too convinced with the battling qualities there. And again, I like the outsider Pressure Luck here. Chris Gordon's Pressure Luck was absolutely tanking last time out on the 20th of March at Kempton when brought down by Get Prepared 3 out. Betfair SP 6.4 that day and was 3.15, just nearly 2-1 in running when brought down. If that has an effective Pressure Luck, must have a good chance here. Highly thought of within the yard. He's a big price. The stable as well, Chris Gordon is operating at 17% strike rate, 4 from 23. He was 19s on the Betfair, but he's actually just been knocked into 16s right now for the win purposes. So how I'd be looking to play this race would be to have a £25 win on pressure luck at 17-16 to 1, and we'll take advantage of the additional place market on the Betfair Exchange. It's roughly, maybe see if we can get about a 2.6, maybe roughly around the 13 to 8 mark, and the 4 place market pressure luck for £25 as well.
Thank you very much, Mark. Graham's about to put on that trade for you.
Just getting the
Thanks
4
very much,
places. Here we go. So 2.6. So that's not been matched. So that's next in the queue to be matched. The win bet is on. So we've got £25 on 17 to win.
Keep an eye on that trade then, Mark.
Thank you very much.
Okay, great stuff. You want to go with Mark? He's taking on Good Bull with the outside of the lot. Where do we go? Okay, I'll jump in now. I thought this was a race where you might want to take a flyer as well. Like Good Bull as an individual. Mixed messages from his 2 runs at the track. Can see the trip. I just thought it was a little bit obvious. And there's a lot of pace in this race. And he's a horse that likes to get on with it. In fact, I can count 4 front runners. We'll go to Graeme Rodway, who's got a theory on exactly what happens when you see that on the page. But that really ought to suit Manila Tara, who finally came good. I think we can say that this season. For Fergal O'Brien and Paddy Brennan last time out. Step up in trip, former point winner, should only suit. I think considering his profile, I'm not surprised he's that big in the market with some perhaps higher profile form figures in there. So I'm not worried about that whatsoever. And Paddy Brennan rides Newbury as well as anyone. I'm looking for him to sneak up the inside from the third last. Making all over hurdles at Newbury is very difficult, isn't it? It tends to happen in the Betfair hurdles sometimes over the years, but when you sort of get let loose. But if I see one jump off in front, let's say Hendo horse or something like that in a novice, don't like it. No. You do like Good Bull.
I like Good Bull. I don't think they have to ride him aggressively. I think, remember when he won in his second start, he kind of stayed on really well when he won. I mean,
Gower Road that he tracked last time. They were the only 2 that got into it.
I'm hoping that Harry Cobden says no. Let's switch off. Let the others go on. One True King will make the running, I think. But he makes
Hudson de Grue, he did it last time. Mount Windsor, we'll get to G in a minute on that one. That's his pick. He likes to do it. Sometimes always has done it.
Yeah, I think One True King makes mistakes under pressure, though. I watched him.
Did it Sandown last time, didn't he? Ascot, sorry.
He clattered the second last, and he does do that when he's taken on One True King. I'm against him. Hudson de Gruge is another horse who's looked beaten a couple of times, doesn't he? And he sort of rescued situations.
Ground, I wasn't sure about for him. It is still on the juicy. It's a kind of like what we've got at Doncaster, I think.
I want the 4-year-olds though. I want the 4-year-olds on my side. I'm going to go with Good Bull. I think Harry stalks today, sits 3rd or 4th, takes it up at the last, he wins.
You're seeing the bull big.
Yeah.
The good bull big.
Hopefully.
This was your nap you told me when you were coming in as well.
This is the one.
Put big N next to that for Renzo. Okay. You like Mount Windsor, G, who's had a fantastic season.
Yeah, it's the other Chris Gordon horse to the one that Marc's put up, Mount Windsor. I like these horses when they get on a roll like this, 4 in a row and rapidly progressive, because I always think when you get a horse that's just winning, it's hard to know the limit of their ability. Even the handicapper struggling to get a handle on him.
Hosed up last time.
Yeah, I mean, he went up £8 for his previous win at Fontwell last time and absolutely took the mick by winning 22 lengths. And take that, handicapper, you know. And
he liked the ground as well, wouldn't he, G, I think?
Yeah, he will. And the handicapper's had another go. So handicapper's gone, right, OK, well, we'll try £13 this time. I don't think the handicapper knows really how good he is, but he's given him £13, but it hasn't stopped him getting off top weight in this race. And I'm not so worried about the pace angle because, as you said, this is one of those red herrings sometimes you can get drawn into as a punter, which is over-analysing things. Sometimes you can think there's going to be loads and loads and loads of pace, but let's not forget these jockeys are all thinking the same, and they are not going to want to go and ruin their own chance by completely blitzing it up.
Do you think that they sit in the weighing room, or probably not at the moment because of COVID protocols, but they're going to go out on the track and they're like, are you leading today? Am I leading today?
I'm sure there's a little conversation about who's going on, who's going to be placed where, and I think I said this before. I mean, I remember being in a paddock recently with, well, not recently, but with Patrick Mullins and Willie Mullins, and Patrick, before the race, at the start of the race, was planning to go on, and the one that we were involved in, and then he came back in straight away and he said, I've been in the weighing room, spoken to the boys, there's 4 or 5 who want to go on, so we're going to sit at the back and we're just going to let them go do it.
And that stuck with you.
And that sort of thing, that mentality, then wrecks the whole idea that there's going to be lots of pace in the race. I think these jockeys, they've got minds of their own as well, and they aren't going to want to ruin their chance by going out and blazing away. Of course, there are some horses that just have to blaze. They're just complete lunatics and they have to go, and you've got no choice. But the ones that can be held on to probably will be.
Yeah, and to give that a little bit of validity, when you used to write spotlights, you used to say, look, this will get an easy lead and it will make all and win. And the jockeys sit, pre-racing, pick up the racing post, read the spotlights and go, hang on a minute, I'm not going to let him get a freebie. They very rarely got freebies.
Gilles always says to me, if I think there's going to be a burn up there, I'll say nothing.
Yeah, exactly, say nothing. That's quite right. Okay, all right, so there you are. A little bit of talk about this race. We're expecting a bit of a frantic gallop. Cue a married man's gallop then, I think we can expect. What price is he now? Marc Hryhorskyj, the good bull.
Yeah, he's shortened up a little bit. He was 3.3, he's into 3.2 now. There's just under 270,000 match in the market right now. But I don't think the punters can decide the backers or the layers here. It's a little bit of money for Mount Windsor. That one was 9.6 and 8.8. I think this one has a live chance as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Good Ball is just absolutely tanking in behind and does trade a lot shorter here. But I'll take a chance on pressure luck and winning additional place market here.
Thank you then, Marc. Okay, yeah, all right. So a nice outsider. We know you like those bold shouts. Let's hope you've reacted to those as well. What are you doing elsewhere? You're keeping an eye on a Maidan as well. How much is on offer there? I saw it. It's a ridiculous amount still. Prize money, isn't it?
It's mad. It's the second richest race in the world now.
No fav so far. It's a
no, I can't believe Zenden's won the Golden Shaheen. Horse who was getting beaten in handicaps in America. I think he won a Group Grade 3 at Tampa Bay. He's
best is yet to come, though. I think we can say that. You like Mystic Guide, don't you? In the World Cup?
I think he's the right one. I think he wins. Big reports about him. I think he's going to win.
A relentless galloper, said Ron Wood, our Maidan's specialist, and expects him to win as well.
That's what you need, isn't it, to win that race?
Yeah. Seemingly so.
It's not a great World Cup, is it? You're missing, obviously, without Nick's Go.
North could be a pin-up boy this year, couldn't he, for Team Goz?
Yeah.
Maybe.
He's from a sire whose progeny progress with age, so I don't know. I thought he was a fitting favourite in the turf there. You've got the Japanese mare getting weight as well. So look, we're happy to talk about that. If you want to keep an eye on it, let us know. Ascot tomorrow. Donny goes as well, doesn't it? Tomorrow.
Yeah. Last Ascot's jump day, isn't it, tomorrow?
It is. It usually rattling ground, isn't it? So I think they got lucky with a bit of a shower on Friday. Okay, the flag is up. All right, jumps time then. Let's get our jump sats back on and go to Tony Ennis for the 250 at Newbury.
Yeah, this is over 2 mile 3 furlongs, and they are off and racing. 7 runners, the absentee being Hooper, and they're going to take 10 flights in all. They start at the entrance of the home straight, and One True King, as expected, has gone on for Sam Twiston-Davies, a horse who loves to front run. Good Ball's going to race in a share of second, with Mount Windsor, who's got lots of wins beside his name this season on testing ground. Hudson de Grugy is quite keen, actually. Yeah. In behind. He normally races aggressively. They're trying to drop him in. Minella Tara's got into a nice rhythm early. Then comes Press Your Luck. And the back marker, Sometimes Always, who's normally ridden a bit more prominently, but he's dropped out today.
No trainer does their homework on race tactics more than Gary Moore, I would wager. And Hudson de Grugy, they've obviously looked at the amount of pace G on paper as well. And early doors, he resented it, but now he's all right, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't think there's loads of pace on, do you? Just like
it's the dawdling gallop.
It is. It's kind of like you're sitting there, the Hudson de Grugy pulling his arms out in the back, and the leader's taking a bit of a grip, and they're all taking a grip. Yep. I think they're going fairly slowly here, Dave, and it could be a case of, like we were just saying earlier, maybe they have sat there and gone, there's going to be a lot of pace on this race, and they've all taken a sit. It looks that way.
And Paddy Brennan, who sits 3rd/4th on Minella Tara, that's a horse that has sat out the back a little bit. He's alive to it because he's moved the horse up a little bit more prominently than expected. Sometimes Always anchored out the back, Tony Ennis.
Yeah, Sometimes Always has dropped right towards the rear, but it is One True King who's now dropped back to second because the new leader is Mount Windsor. Fergus Gillard has taken him to the front, one of the Chris Gordon runners. To in second place, One True King. Good Ball's in a share of third with Minella Tara, who's gone whizzing around the outside now. Paddy Brennan wants to get a bit closer here. Look at that. Good Ball's dropped back to 4th. Press Your Luck is 5th, and then comes Hudson de Grugy, held up today, and Sometimes Always can see them all. But it's strange there. Paddy Brennan kind of made a move, Dave, and he's now sort of just taken back a bit on Minella Tara.
He has been a little bit novice in his career today, but I think he's jumping quite well. Hudson de Grugy just missed one there. G, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm more than happy with my selection here, Mount Windsor. He seems to be going on, doing it quite nicely. The 2 in behind have taken a bit of a pull, so when they do come to him, what will they find? And then your Enzo selection, Good Ball, back in 4th, looks the main danger at this stage, you'd say.
Okay. It's a jumps race. We've got plenty of time then to bring in Marc Hryhorskyj from Betfair. What's the market saying? Who's been the real mover so far?
Yeah, they were crawling early on, and Good Ball was into about 2.78, 2.76 for some good money, but it's drifting out now just around the 3-1 mark, 4.1 to delay, 4 to back. The one that Graeme was quite keen on, Mount Windsor of Chris Gordon's, that's 5.8 right now. And any other movers, Hudson de Grugy, that one's on the drift as well. That's 8.6. This one looks quite keen, but it looks like the layers are trying to get Good Ball and running here. My selection pressure looks out to 30s right now, so it's not looking too good, but it does look like they've crawled early and looking good for Graeme, so you want to be on the front here.
And he's attacking then going into the home straight. Okay, this is one of those cunning bends, Enzo, isn't it, as a caller? You think the home straight's coming, they've got a real sweeping bend to go.
Long bend, this one. Yeah, they haven't reached their starting point yet. They've still got 3 left to jump and well over 6 furlongs to go from here. The leader is still Mount Windsor out in front. One True King in second. Third, Minella Tara. Good Ball in fourth. Press Your Luck in fifth. Not much change in the order. Hudson de Grugy in sixth. The back marker is Sometimes Always. They're now about 6 furlongs from the finish. They're on the side of the course and about to turn left-handed back towards the home straight. So up front, Mount Windsor. Can he see it out? One True King is going to try and close again in second. Minella Tara now just niggled back in third. Good Ball in fourth. Press Your Luck to the outside, trying to get a bit closer to.
Travels Good Ball, doesn't he, Enzo? The nap's going well, my man.
Come on, Fergus, quicken this up.
Mount Windsor in front still. Good Ball's going to challenge for Cobden. One True King's come off the bridle. From the back, Sometimes Always is getting into it as well. He was last early on. So many chances across the track, but behind Mount Windsor, Good Ball's going to have to come and fight for this now as they head down towards the second last.
Oh, Mark, getting excited. You can hear him as well.
4 almost in line. Mount Windsor, Good Ball. Those coming there strongly for Cobden. Far side, Hudson de Grugy's not that far back. Here comes Press Your Luck towards the near side. We've lost. Minella Tara. Good Ball's got on now for Cobden. Needs a half length.
Will he get home? That's the question.
Good Ball. Come on, Harry. Here comes on the near side, Press Your Luck to throw down the challenge for Tom Cannon. Good Ball from Press Your Luck at the final flight. Good Ball's in front by a half. Press Your Luck is trying to close towards the near side. Then behind those in third place is Hudson de Grugy. From the back, Sometimes Always is staying on, but Cobden will not be passed. Good Ball driven out for Paul Nicholls. Out in front, Press Your Luck and Hudson de Grugy. They can't catch him. There's only one ball. It's a Good Ball. He wins. Nicholls and Cobden have some of that. Close for second.
We didn't say it much through the Cheltenham Festival, did we? Cobden and Nicholls get the money, but you can tell when he's back one, can't you? If you listen to him during the days, the random days, weekdays where you hear him at Fontwell and the Doncaster and Lincoln, I tell you what.
No idea what you're talking about. No idea.
The Good Ball, he called him. Absolutely brilliant. He saw it big and it won. Marc, great shout with Press Your Luck. He just didn't quite have the gumption to go past.
Yeah, he made a slight mistake, 2 out. Fair play to Good Ball there. Showed some battling qualities. Definitely could have chucked it over the last there. We've traded around 6 to 4, 2.5 and running there. We've hit. I think we've been quite high there. Yeah, we've hit. We've hit 300s there in the run at one stage as well. But fair play to Enzo there. Great selection and obviously a nice winner for Paul Nicholls there. Good Ball.
Yeah, and I think you can. Sometimes you've just got to forget these handicap hurdle form at Cheltenham. I mean, the horse that beat him, Agawa Road, no sort of run whatsoever.
It was too key, wasn't it?
It was just beaten after two hurdles. It's a punch you've got to be a bit forgiving, haven't you? And this will be a nice chaser next year, won't it?
Yeah, he's got a bit of size about him, hasn't he? Yeah, he talked him up high, didn't he? I think in his stable too at the start of the season, Nicholls. He thought a lot of this horse.
These colours will win either the Arkle or the Marsh next year at Cheltenham. And it will be Montmiral.
Oh, Montmiral's colours, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolute monster down at Nicholls.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe the Irish might be thinking slightly differently, and the numbers would suggest otherwise, but Montmiral, he's the one that can wrestle it back forward. That was a really exciting race. Have you missed the jumps? It's not going anywhere yet. We've got Scottish Nationals coming for you. Irish Grand Nationals are in the offing as well, aren't they? And the big one coming in a couple of weeks' time at Aintree. What price? Cloth Cap. What price is Cloth Cap on the sportsbook at the minute, Marc Hryhorskyj? There's a curveball for you.
Yeah, I'll just need to load that one up. I'm currently still on the exchange at the moment. You're looking for Cloth back. Just give me 1 sec. Just come back to you on that one.
No worries. What price do you reckon he'll go, Cloth Cap? We'll have a little bit of national chat here.
7 to 2 favourite he goes off.
It's about 7 to 2. I think that might be actually on the big side, potentially.
Yeah, some people are saying he's got 5 to 2, 11 to 4, but I'm thinking, really?
Tom Scudamore, came out in the week and said he thinks 4 to 1 is potentially generous. I think that's probably not exactly what it was. In fact, did he say it was a big prize?
How many big winners has Tom Scudamore backed in his life, do you think?
Well, that's a good question.
I'd say none, to be honest.
I probably certainly
No,
not.
just throwing that out there in the same way that they would throw out.
Well, in other words, you're saying he shouldn't know what a good price is. He probably doesn't.
Yeah, I'm just throwing it out there in the same way that jockey would say to me, you know, how many winners have I ridden? Maybe it is a good price. We're only going to find out come thingy, but come the day. But
What Tom obviously meant was this just wins, doesn't it?
Yeah. The thing is, it's a shame we haven't got Tiger Roll in the race. Isn't it? Imagine we have Tiger Roll and Cloth Cap. You'd have two massive kind of.
I haven't seen what the handicap has
runners
done
going
to
into it.
Tiger Roll, actually, the British handicapper, but a lot of talking about that, wasn't there? Will he go to the Irish National, do you think? Paul Nolan's hoping so. Isn't
talking
he, the
about
latest exhibition.
The bowl race, weren't they? The mile-made race, Aintree. Whether that would happen or not, I don't know.
Well, he could still come over to the meeting as well. We could still see quite a few Irish horses coming over to Aintree still, much to the British.
Yeah, Dave, we're
trainers.
7-2 on the Cloth Cap and the one with Betfair on the sportsbook.
Push him out. Push him out, Marc. Come on.
Yeah, short enough. What impressive last time out, Kelso, but short enough. I think any
Impressive is
second
not
now.
the adjective we should be reaching for, Mark. He was superb,
I
wasn't he?
guarantee you, come the day, every tipster in the racing post will not be tipping him. They will be taking him on. Every tipster probably in the land, bar one or two, will.
Well, TC might have a go at him, mightn't he?
He might do, but nobody's realistically going to be sitting there in their racing post desk and going, "This is a good bet, 7-2," are they?
Well, so let's just concentrate on that for a second, because a lot of people out there go, "Why aren't they just telling us the obvious?"
Because
I've never been so certain of a national winner in my life. I don't.
I mean, let's talk about the opposition. Any second now, he looked good in Ireland, didn't he? His last time out, you got Burrow Saint. We've got
Burrow Saint's been a bit laboured thus far.
The one I quite like still, no one's talking about, is Secret Reprieve, Welsh national winner. I know he hasn't been seen since. He's going straight to the national, isn't he? After
Amigos has run all right since, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think Evan really rates him. I think 20-1 he is, isn't he, in places? I thought that was quite big.
There are other alternatives then in the National, which we will be bringing you on the second weekend of April. Cannot wait for that meeting to start. We're going to bring the whole meeting, we're pretty sure, as well. So happy days are here again. But we've got to go flat racing again, haven't we, I think? Because, it's nearly Lincoln time. 3:10 then. And how low is he going to go? Eastern World, Marc Hryhorskyj.
Yeah, there's been a lot of money for this one. It's actually toppled Hryhorskyj at the top of the bang here. This one's about 5.4, 5.5 this morning around 10 a.m. It's currently 3.9. It probably could go shorter, maybe off about 3.5, 3.65. The drifter is Hryhorskyj here at 6.4 with £7 claimer Bene de la Sayette on board. I think he's getting to more of a realistic price here. I do think this one was a bit short, considering this is the first ride on the turf for this rider. But Eastern World definitely shorting up and has the high draw. And how I'd like to actually play this. And I can understand why people are taking to Hryhorskyj here, but I still think is he at a layable price. I was more looking to lay this one around maybe 5.1, 5.2. So that would be my selection, but as you say, you don't have to have a bet in every race. I think 6.6 means big enough to lay here. I think this is a huge test for a £7 claimer, despite having a big future ahead. And I'm not 100% convinced with the form. And the only recent defeat came at Newmarket on the 11th of July over today's trip of a mile. And again, Bennett, the jockey's never ridden on the turf before, so that's a big step up from riding sort of maidens around Kempton and Wolverhampton. Two runner maidens, top class jockeys, quality horses in opposition here. So, he has drifted, but I'll probably sit this one out. But if I was taking one on, I'd probably take that one on in the winning place market, but we'll sit this one out.
Lincoln hasn't been that kind to John Gosden, actually, over the last 10 years.
One in 2009, didn't he? Espresso Star, Jimmy Fortune.
Yeah, that was a very progressive horse, wasn't it? When this won at the track, this was the plan. I'm with Marc though, 100%. Benoit de la Sayette. You've been calling him on the all-weather all winter, haven't you?
All of his form was at 7, isn't it, Hryhorskyj as well? I mean, is he certain to stay a mile?
I'd be tempted later for a place. I think this is one of those races, G, isn't it, where the industry firms, if you like, are a lot shorter than the exchange market. The exchange is the place to be in the Lincoln.
Well, yeah, because a lot of them be offering enhanced place terms, so they have to cover the place side whereas obviously on the exchange it's win only. So that would be part of the reason. But I mean, it's not my sort of bag back in 3.9 shots in the Lincoln, but we have seen them win recently, haven't we?
You put this up?
Ozair and
Adabe, yeah. So
you
put this up?
No, absolutely not. No, I mean, I fancy Grove Ferry at quite a good price, and Kinneran each way I think could go well, also at a good price. But yeah, both of those two each way against the field would be my plays, Dave.
Can I give you a couple of quotes while you react I tell you what, that is huge growth ferry, isn't it? I wasn't expecting to be 30s, G.
It does worry me a little bit that he's that big, because I just wonder whether, again, fitness is going to be there for him.
At Arctic Vega, didn't they, in the spring mile?
He did have that run, didn't he? He did have that run at Lingfield where he had the prep, but it was a very weird sort of race. It was a slowly run contest, which probably didn't take much winning. So how much that would have brought him on, I'm not sure.
Well, the Doncaster Mile, which started this migration towards the stand side high numbers, won by Top Rank. James Tate, his trainer, gave a great quote to David Carr, which you'll find in your members section of your papers tomorrow. He said, look to be bigger and better this year. There was an outside chance he was just fat. Fortunately, he was actually bigger and better. £5 penalty against those lot, which we didn't mention, actually, wouldn't have been easy. Lockhinge for him, a mention already of the Group 1 in May at Newbury. Lockhinge for Top Rank, who's probably is just on the periphery of that Group 1, isn't it? So lovely to see that. Hryhorskyj in 10. I'm surprised he's as short as he is. I mean, 4 to 1. I think this will just keep drifting. Yeah. But we can see on the exchange that the 11 to 4, now 5 to 2, about Eastern World. It was 4 to 1 this morning when I came in. I had a short list of 4 for the Lincoln when I did the race on Tuesday. Ascension was one of them. Would have been ridden by Andrea Azzini for Roger Variant. I don't think he'll like the ground too much. I think he wants a proper bog. He just sneaked in at the bottom. Uzo was the other one. Money for him. Can see him going well, Uzo. Ground will be perfect for him, I think. Loads of big field form like that. Still 16. King Ottokar was the other one.
He's a bit tricky, isn't he, King Ottokar?
That's being polite.
I spoke to Charlie Fellows about him the other day, and he was saying, yeah, he's been so unlucky. But I've watched him.
To talk to, Charlie, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a very good talker. He really analyses the race, and he's really analysed this horse a lot. And he says that he's just never had the rub. I watched the Ascot with the Balmoral, and he kind of
the one before that at Doncaster.
Yeah. Is he a horse that's unlucky?
Well, he is one of those.
Is he quirky as well?
He needs
I don't know.
to be ridden. First time pieces today. Ben Curtis, and I like the fact that it's slower than we thought it might be. But Eastern World was the other one. And I'm not happy to be putting up an 11 to 4 shot necessarily in a Lincoln.
It could just be
I think everything looks in place for this. And
yeah, it does, doesn't it? I mean, people are saying about his run at Doncaster last year behind Hryhorskyj was bad, but I think he's a different horse now. He's obviously had the gelding operation. That win in Maidan was pretty impressive, wasn't it? And I mean, Charlie Appleby's never had a loser in this race.
4 to 1, I think, was obviously now looking like a big price. He was 3 to 1 in the week, and I thought, I'll probably put something up as a value alternative. I can see King Ottokar going really well, but they're kind of, it's not the full width of the track, obviously, at Doncaster, is it?
He's only 18 now as well, isn't it?
Yeah. He's
4 on-runners we got as well.
Brentford Hope, of course, being one of those.
To be Alive's come out as well. So we've
gone off the Ottokar a little bit, although he's firming up in the market.
What about Dania? There's a bit of money for that. Do you like that? Or not really?
Yeah, it's well fancied, I think. Owen Burrows' only runner of the day, G.
Yes, yeah, well, yeah. When we had Taj O'Shea on the Saturday jury this week, and he was quite keen on this one's chances when we were lining him up.
Yeah, David Milne said to you that they were fancying.
Yeah, David Milne said that they fancied this Daniel.
It's our Newmarket correspondent for anyone.
So obviously Burrows is not a Newmarket trainer. He is Lambourne, isn't he? I think, but Taj O'Shea would have some insight into that Handan Al Maktoum operation, wouldn't he?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he sort of made his career, and he used to ride over here at the Irish Rider, but has been basically plying his trade in the UAE very successfully as well. So Daniel, I know Tom Collins, who was on with us last Saturday, he talked to me about that then as well. So Tom will be all over Daniel as well. Wears a hood, basically. He's got a good first-time out record. In fact, I don't think he's been beaten first time out. He just needs to go to that next level, and he is a horse that will need to be ridden for cover. So we'll need to creep into it.
Stall 9, so it depends on where the draw ends up. I mean,
this is one of those.
Are we now saying definitely high or not?
There's a strong argument, isn't there?
Very strong. Well, on the previous 2 races we've had, all the 3 races that we're giving you today from Doncaster are, well, 4 I should say, of course we've got the Camage coming up. The first 3 races are over the straight mile, and with it being the width and the configuration at the minute, they just tend to be leaning this way a little bit, don't they? So, pace. Should we talk about where the pace is in the Lincoln? Unless it's Revich on the far side, guys, a horse that's like to go on with it. I thought it probably was set up lovely for Eastern World, funnily enough. I thought that Dashing Roger would be one.
Yeah, well.
And Uzo likes to get on with it a little bit as well. There's a non, isn't there, I think, that was right next door to
Born to be Alive's out.
Well, that's the horse.
Yeah, that
Depends.
So 4 out now. What do you make of River Nymph? Was I think, tipped up by a couple of people earlier in the week, but it's drifted a bit today, isn't it?
Taylor put it up, didn't he?
Taylor put it up, yeah.
Yeah, again, needs to take his form to the next level, but it's Clive Cox and Adam Kirby. Couldn't put you off. Let's get some social interaction for the big race of the day. It is the Lincoln. And Chris Timms rejoins the party and says, Hryhorskyj and Dania for me. Listen, big firms, Benoit de la Sayette. First ride on turf. He's extremely well regarded, though, isn't he? That amazing strike rate. Punter's pal on the all-weather. 2 more coming our way. Thanks for that, Chris, who's coming on. Tony Hay comes on and says, Hryhorskyj will do for me. So Marc Hryhorskyj taking this on, but a lot of you absolutely loving it. It was a punt in the week. Tony Hay is on. And Nicholas Bukowski comes on and says, Uzo for me. Yeah, Uzo's on my shortlist.
How big's the shortlist here, Dave?
4.
4?
I had 4 on it. But listen, Lincoln is that sort of race, right?
Yeah, that's why I've had 2 stabs here.
Yeah. A Kinran. Should we have a quick word on Kinran? We didn't really go into him too much. Everyone's had a go at Kinran before.
I'm waiting for him for Ascot.
You've had a go punting-wise and had a go by shouting at the telly right before.
Yeah.
He's one of those characters, but...
he's a real lovable character.
He's come down to the right mark, G, which is the key. And he loves a Donny form.
He turns up in all these big handicaps, Air Gold Cups and challenges and all the big ones at Ascot. And one of them he's going to fall his way again, I think, shortly. I know that he is that type of horse, but he is back down to quite a low mark here, 101. He was racing off like 106, 107 for the majority of last season, would have struggled off that sort of mark. I think this is much more his sort of level 101, and if he doesn't win this one, I think there is a big race in him coming up. But
he placed behind Auxerre. Was that he did? He was second to him, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's got form at the over the course and distance, which I like.
Isn't it delightful to have the Lincoln back? Of course, this time last year we didn't know what on earth was going on, were we? Racing suspended, of course. Weren't sure what was coming our way. Only a couple of weeks, they said. We know exactly what's happened. Racing only resumed on June the 1st. Full calendar going forward then, guys. We've got a little bit of time to talk before they go in. I'd like to see the Sundays maintained. Do you remember these Sundays were sort of
Sundays,
Super Sundays were forced upon us, G, weren't they? We've seen the ITV schedule. Thankfully, you sent that to me because we've got a bit of programming to do, with this show going on. And I'm disappointed there aren't so many. Maybe they'll change, but I wanted to see the Sunday stay.
Yeah, it was great, wasn't it, during the summer?
Yeah.
One after the other, just great Sunday racing, great Sunday racing, great Sunday racing.
And all Irish and French that have been loving the Sundays, haven't they?
Don't seem to like it so much in Britain, do they? I don't think they put in
the
quite
day before
the same.
Monday. I guess everyone think about going back to work or something.
Yeah, I don't think they put in maybe quite the same crowds that they would do on
Sunday racing is an absolute treat.
On Saturday.
I'm going to miss that Ascot race card tomorrow that you mentioned.
Yeah.
I usually go to that,
Yeah, that's good. There's the odd one. Obviously, Guineas is still on the Sunday, isn't it? That's still going on. And there's Cheltenham, isn't it, in November. There's a couple of good Ascots on Sundays, but yeah, I think sometimes you get sort of the middle of summer and you have 3 jumps meetings on a Sunday and you just think there should be a big flat card on Sunday.
We had that wonderful... everyone was worried about how it was going to look, how it was going to come off. But the flat season, the first 2 months was brilliant, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it was absolutely superb, wasn't it? It was good race after good race, good horse after good horse.
Yeah.
And it's just a shame that we couldn't have crowds there, but it looks like we might be on the way back now soon, Dave, eh? What do you reckon?
Fingers crossed, my old son, fingers crossed. Which is the first race course you're going to go to?
Sandown, without doubt.
Yeah, I should have known that. That was a 101. Enzo, as a race goer?
As a race goer, looking forward to going back to... I want to go to Epsom, really. Again, I'd love to go to the Derby if I could. That'd be great.
Wins on a Monday night for me. What about you, Marc, as they go in? What race course have you really missed, man?
I actually quite miss Kempton because that's my local. A couple of the boys, when things were back at normality, would jump off during the week to Kempton. A bit of all weather action. But just going on the selections here, Grove Ferry, that one's came in for a little bit of support. It's currently 25s on the machine now. And Eastern World, he's going off around the 3.65, 3.5. Wow. And I think Hryhorskyj is starting to look like a more realistic price here, about 8.4 to back, 8.6 to lay. And also within the exchanges now, we're offering 4, 5, 6 and 7 places. And I just had a little look at the 7th place market right now. And I think Grove Ferry, he's trading around 13 to 8. Near 6 to 4 for 7 places here, so that looks quite a big price. And it does look like the layers are coming for Benoit de la Sayette. It's out to 9.2 now. Potentially could be a rabbit in front of headlights here, but first time on the turf. But we'll see how he gets on. But it'll be a no bet from me because I think we've missed the price on that one.
Okay, great stuff. Thank you, Marc. Great to have you joining us this afternoon. Have you enjoyed Marc out there? Let him know. You can get your social interaction in. Great stuff to have another Betfarian with us. A sterling debut thus far. So, ridiculous price. If you were getting the 4 to 1 and you thought, no, I'll wait for nearer the off. Wow, unbelievable. in between 11th
He's getting
and 4th,
shorter
5
and
to 2.
shorter, isn't he, Dave?
It's a Saturday plunge then in the Lincoln. Will this be another Dave or another, of course, Auxerre? Over to Tony Ennis for the call.
We're ready then. Here we go. Over the straight mile, 18 runners. A little bit slowly away was Dashing Roger towards the near side, breaking well towards the far side. Kinran got out well. They're going to come across.
They are.
Or are they? No, there's about 6 staying towards the far side. River Nymph is leading Kinran over on the far. Eastern World is towards the front rank as well at this early stage.
Don't want to know the far side.
No, they're sort of now clustering into one group. Here we go.
The interesting angle here now on the TV.
We've got the inside angle, but at least we can see all of them. Unbelievable. So I wonder what this will do to the exchange. But Eastern World, Enzo, right up there. I think that's great. He's tanking along.
He's tanking a bit, isn't he? He's got to the front already. James Doyle leads on the big gamble. Eastern World out in front at this stage too. In second place, Graphite. Kinran is third. River Nymph is fourth. Dashing Roger is in fifth place. Just in behind them, we have Hortsadar. Uzo's a little bit further back in midfield at this stage, towards the back of the field. I can see Orban is just about last. History Writer is last but one. Ascension's out the back as well. Yeah. Ridden along towards the near side is Man of the Night, but up front Eastern World still has the lead by a half length to Graphite in second. Dashing
in
Roger
front on the rails, led all the way, please.
6 to 4 and running here.
He's short in the run. Eastern World. He's in front by a length as they pass halfway and head down for the 3. Can James Doyle win this Lincoln again?
Yes.
For Charlie Appleby. Uzo's giving chase. Brunch is now coming out of the pack to try and challenge as well. River Nymph far side, then Grove Ferry. Also there is Danya towards the far side. Going well on the far side. Hortsadar is coming. Yeah. Eastern World's in trouble now. Brunch it is.
Gonna have to find the 5.
Now he's in big bother. It's Brunch who leads the Lincoln. Field. Hortsadar in second. From the back, Hryhorskyj staying on now for Benoit. Here comes Hryhorskyj.
Benoit,
say it.
He's absolutely gone.
Wow. Hryhorskyj's hacked up. Brunch second, Hortsadar third, Danya fourth.
Lots of social love for Hryhorskyj before. Keep it simple, John and Thady Gosden. Benoit de la Sayette, never ridden on turf before. And all I saw early doors, guys, was he was getting buffeted about. He didn't have anywhere to go. He switches in wide. No need for the stick, says Benoit. This is a young boy going places.
Wow.
Hats off. Marc,
cool was that?
Hryhorskyj, let's go to you. When did they know?
Yeah, he's given that an absolute peach, hasn't he? Definitely put the doubters, and especially me, to shame there. He didn't panic. It's actually hit a massive price in running as well. We're looking at this thing's been matched at 500 to 1 for £3 in running. Wow. I don't think the camera angle helped here, but I mean, he's the young guy's given that an absolute cracking right there, and definitely want to follow moving forward.
Can we talk about this camera angle a little bit as well?
Narrow the track as well.
Obviously, we're not showing you pictures. The whole point is we're doing race reaction here. But I don't know. It did go off screen a little bit, didn't it? They just honed in on. We were like, okay, it's all over. Brunch has come and picked this up. Hort's on the far side, of course. Now you can just about see him, but not ideal angles. These are they?
No, it's not great, is it? I prefer. It's not great coverage, but Brunch has hit the front, as you say. But look at this horse. This horse has won like a ton in hand. I was worried about him staying the mile, but look at that. He's absolutely bolted up.
Yeah, and Eastern World, the big gamble, he did go too hard.
Didn't he? He pulled a bit as well.
You called that ends, fair play. I thought he got the run, fit, would just stay.
Looked like he was just over racing a little bit.
Wow, that 11 to 4 looks a stinker now, doesn't it?
9 to 2 winner, Hryhorskyj.
Well done, a fancied winner. Takes out the Lincoln. Absolutely loves the place, but we'll be seeing him in pattern races later on. Again, we're just watching it back now. We can see the corner of our eyes. He's not on the scene yet, G, is he?
No, and I think he's come from nicely off the pace. He's been well suited by the way the race has been run in the end, hasn't he? And an excellent ride, wasn't it? That was one of the doubts, wasn't it, from a lot of people. Was this jockey had not ridden on turf before? There were doubts about whether he would be up to it. Yeah.
Well, the trainers,
if Goz puts you on,
yeah.
You know,
John Goss has not had an apprentice for years, is he? This boy must be something special because he's not employed an apprentice.
We're looking at the next Rav Havlin, or we're looking at the next Frankie Dettori.
Well, maybe the latter. I just think that. As well, look at the team. They've had 4 winners in a second now, haven't they? Al Migua's their only loser so far. And he bumped into one, didn't he? But
one that we fancied together.
He's bumped into a group horse, isn't he? In that.
Yeah. Al Zakaran. We've seen some great performances thus far. That was a very interesting Lincoln.
Did we see the herd mentality there, Dave?
Yeah. I was just about to throw it your way, G.
Everyone coming towards the stand side. And the winners come right down the middle.
And he's bucked the trend. So basically, yeah, but you're right, absolutely. So everyone thought you needed to be high. The market certainly suggested that. That chap was drawn right in the middle. 1 crack he's given him. 2 cracks he's given him. And then he knows, off he goes. John Gosden, group horse in a handicap. Have we seen that? Give us your Lincoln reaction. There were a couple of eye catchers in behind, actually. See if we can see that. Midland Park Racing Horse. What was that in the first colours? going down. Let's have a little look.
Revich. Yeah.
A word. Was it David Mills gave a word? Someone gave a word for that, so it worked really, really well. That was a massive eye catcher.
The horse that was last early on, Orban, has finished 5th in the end. He wasn't beaten that far over. David O'Mara.
David O'Mara.
Yeah, he was interesting. He hadn't run for a long time, so I mark him up as well.
It just makes you think of Chester when I think of Revich and when I think of Orban. And again, we've got the May meeting at Chester.
That's coming up, isn't it?
Absolutely brilliant. Dante's coming out. Good time of year.
Meeting, yeah, that's always one of the highlights of the year, isn't it?
Kinran had his chance, G. Looked like it was the first run back to me. Grove Ferry had his chance.
Kinran was up with a hot pace, had no chance of keeping on. Grove Ferry ran a very strange race in that he was going well in behind the leaders. Then he pushed the button and everything went past him, and then he stayed on again past beaten rivals. And I thought that he shaped like he was in desperate need of further.
Keep an eye on Grove Ferry then, says Graeme Rodway. OK, back to Newbury we must go. It's the Grade 2 Mares Final, 3:25 coming up. Rose of Arcadia, we're looking at another hot pot. Marc Hryhorskyj, is this one going to go over the line?
Yeah, this is one I'd be looking to back here for Rose of Arcadia. Colin Tizard, John Joe O'Neill recorded a win on the 4th of February, beating Fable by a neck, who obviously has franked that form since. I think appreciate the step up in trip to 2 mile 5. Was heavily gambled that day and was the first winner for the stable over a barren spell. I'm not worried about stepping down or falling to 2 mile 4 here. I think Rose of Arcadia has the potential to be a lot better than 120 here. And I think looking at some of the opposition here, it looks like a lot of them are in the grip of the handicapper here. So we'll be looking to have, he's 4.7, well, she's 4.7 right now, Rose of Arcadia. We're looking to have a £50 win at 4.7.
4.7, so slightly gone in. 4.8 is she now? 50 to win.
Yeah, I'm happy with that price, yeah.
OK, and that is match, yeah, so £50 on Rose of Arcadia wins, 185 if she wins.
Yeah, I'm with Marc here as well, like her. I spoke to you about this race yesterday, didn't I, G? Watched all the feature shows that we do. You would have heard us talking about this mare. You were worried about the experience for her. This is one race when you're an analyst or you're doing spotlights or anything, you know that some of these mares are aiming towards this race. You usually look for Henderson horses that come out after the turn of the year and think, can they get in the 3 runs that they need? 4, 2, 1, expensive purchase, Sheveley Park. Last time out, form's worked out. I love her for this. She just looks obvious to me.
I thought she had a great chance, but yeah, I just wonder whether she would know enough. She was big and gangly, and she still looked green when she won. Now, obviously, she might improve for the bigger field and everything, but it is a bit of a worry for me. I like the more battle-hardened type, who's Marada. She was very impressive when she won. I think it was a Huntingdon.
For Team Skelton.
Absolutely hammered a horse that went on and won at Kempton next time. She's got lots and lots and lots of runs behind her, so we absolutely know that she will definitely be fine with this test, this big field test.
Yeah, and if you look down the list of winners, the likes of Polly Peacham, Runctions run loads of runs next to their name, has gone the way of a classy mare the last couple of years. Snow Leopardess in 2017, she was good enough to run in the National Hunt Chase, wasn't she, at Cheltenham this year. Roxana won it for the aforementioned Skeltons in 2018. Last time it was run, 2019, went to Annie Mack. Now a crack chaser for Team O'Neill as well. So you need something progressive. You need something that's probably a little bit ahead of the handicapper.
I've got to give a mention to Misty Whiskey, because it's probably one of the lowlights of my whole season. Was
this at Sandown last time?
No, sorry, when I backed her to win the race at Kempton, the Lanzarote hurdle. Quite a strong fancy for her that day. She was
10 to 1, that was
a nice price she was, and she went through that race really well. I thought she was going to win, and then got done by the 66 to 1.
Boreham Bill.
Outside of Boreham Bill. And as a punter, I'm afraid when you're on the well-fancied horse and you get done by a horse like 66 to 1 outside, it always hurts.
Steve Mason's put this up as his naps. That's our jumps handicapper, one of the greatest judges out there in jumps racing. If she jumps, that's all it's about. She actually did remarkably well to finish 3rd last time, because she wanted to take the hurdles with her at Sandown last time. I just wonder if she's one that will enjoy this drying ground. I'm not 100% sure, but she's definitely got the form in the book anyway, dropping down. So G likes Marada, myself and Marc like Rose of Arcadia going forward. Tony Ennis.
Yeah, I thought I could see the Rose of Arcadia angle. I mean, John Joe O'Neill Jr., he's just brilliant, isn't he, at the moment? And Colin Tizard, as you say, quiet season, but beginning to have a few winners. The form of the Lincoln Handicap race is good. I think the drying ground should be okay for her. Yes, I couldn't put you off her. Honeymoon was the other one that I quite like, but a lot of people put this one up each way, aren't they, today? So I think the price has kind of gone with her. She's like second favourite now, isn't she? She was like 11 to 1, I'm sure, this morning.
What was the headline tip? Oh, it is Honeymoon. Okay.
Extraordinary how
Where'd you go on your honeymoon?
Las Vegas.
Did you?
Yeah.
How'd you swing that one?
Oh, so you're starting to get to know the character of the man, aren't you? Las Vegas, where did you say?
Mirage.
Did you really? Yeah. Okay, have you been to Vegas, G?
I have, yeah.
That completes the panel. Marc, are you a Vegas man, ever been?
I'm more like Macau, if I'm being honest with you.
Okay, yes, indeed. That's why they seriously throw the dice, isn't it? Let's give you a quote from Good Ball, our previous race at Newbury. James Byrne on track for us says, "This is proper Nichols 4-year-old winning a hurdle in March/April time. He might be one for the silver trophy at Chepstow," says Nichols. So that basically means they think he might have some more juice in him. As a hurdler, if it doesn't go right, then he goes chasing.
We've seen that route before. McFabulous won it, didn't he, last year? He didn't go chasing, did he? But Nichols likes that race.
Like Monmiral's the same thing. He said that to me as well. He said, I'm teetering with the idea of going back over because you don't know what more they've got to go. But he doesn't think Aintree will be for him. We're getting a bit close to the Grand National meeting now, aren't we?
Money for Misty Whiskey, I'm surprised.
Oh, yeah, okay. Swing here. Joint favourites, Marc Hryhorskyj. What have we got?
Yeah, Mr. Whiskey's turning into 4-1. They can't really separate them at the top of the bang. Rosebury has 5.1 to back, 5.2 to the lay. Been a lot of money for Honeymoon. This one was trading about 8s, 9s about an hour ago, and that's into 5.6 around the 9-2 mark. But a lot of money for Harry Fry's Mr. Whiskey, and Lorcan Marca takes the ride. I'd be interested to see which one goes off favourite here. A little bit more money for Rosebury. She's back in at 4.9. And off the outsider, there's a little bit of money for Lily Pedlar. It's currently 11-1 chance right now, and Nico takes the ride. Not one for me. I think it's between the top three in the betting here.
Everyone usually thinks of Nicky Henderson horses. There was about a 10-year period where he pretty much farmed certainly the favourites in this race. He hasn't won it since Body Peacham back in 2013. However, Paul Nicholls 2 from 4 in this as well. He's got Kilmington Rose in here, handicap debutant. So a range of abilities as you might expect, G, because this is, whether you believe it or not, this is thought to be important for their breeding prospects.
I think it is, isn't it? Maybe not as important as it used to be now that we've got the improved mares programme,
Correct.
because it used to be really the only
Be all and end all, yeah.
But now there's a much improved mares programme, maybe not quite so significant as it was, but still worth a lot from a black type, is it they call?
It is that. A word for Alpha Carini, who I put up at Doncaster in that last round. That was when Barry Orr, do you remember? Started off the month of March merrily with Dragon Bones. Unbelievable. BSP, Betfair starting price, around about 66-1, wasn't it? Hence the bumper payday already for World Child. That's our chosen charity in the month of March. If you had a good Cheltenham, if you've had a good day, give them some love. The National Charity for Sick Children. Great cause. And Alpha Carini, it drops back in trip. I think that's a good move. Aidan Coleman, we spoke to him yesterday, G, didn't we? He said this could go well at a price.
Yeah, he didn't put anyone off it, did he? So it's a race where you can make a case for loads, isn't it? It's that sort of race. It always is every year, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm hoping that there's going to be pace on for Rose of Arcadia. She's kind of had to do it her own way at Wincanton last time, and that didn't suit. But they're off and running in the Mayor's Final.
10 to jump then for the EBF National Hunt Novices Mares Hurdle Limited Handicap Grade 2, 2 mile, 4.5 furlongs, and they've got a long run before they'll leave the ground. Flight 1 is the first in the straight, first of 10 they'll take, but they start just over on the far side, so a long run round the bend. Bourbon Beauty is the first to show. Misty Whiskey, well backed, is in second place. Honeymoon, also well backed this morning, is in a share of third place with Dr. Dina, and towards the inside, that is Lily Pedlar, one of Nicky Henderson's other runner, is very handy too, tracked by the other Henderson horse, Paris Dixie, at this stage. Then behind those, we have Marada for Dan Skelton as they jump the first. All over safely. Alpha Carini is towards the back, and also But Spree Lady, another Henderson runner at the back of the field at this stage. Rose of Arcadia buried away nicely by young John Joe towards the rear of the field. A bit on the side is in that back group as well, and also in rear is Kilmington Rose. I've not mentioned yet Harry Cobden looking for a double, of course, today. But the early leader is Bourbon Beauty as they head towards the second. Just see them over this, and they've all jumped safely enough so far. But happy with Rose of Arcadia so far. I think she's settled quite well.
I think if you've been backing Rose of Arcadia this season, you've been wanting to see this sort of hold-up ride and coming to a decent pace. But, G, they have put the brakes on, and she's still a little keen.
Yeah, she's a bit more professional than I thought she was last time at Wincanton already, though. I think maybe the bigger field is helping her in that.
These novice races, though, when you're a hot pot, you've just got to get the job done, haven't you? And you don't often see the real model.
No, that's true, and she's the sort of horse that I think is just going to have to have a lot more ability than the rest to go and win this off her current mark. And God, they've really slowed it up now, haven't they? There's a few in behind who are really taking a tug. Who's the jockey in front has really slowed it up.
It's surprise, it's Harry Bannister for pleasure, of course. He just likes to crack on, doesn't he? Alex Hales, third in the Supreme Novice Hurdle. Could this carry on? This would have been aimed at the race. 86-day break bouncing off the ground. Another Henderson horse just offering it. Dolce Dino, I should say.
Dino, yeah.
Dr. Dino's a really good jump side, Dr. Dino, by the way. Excellent strike race. Alpha Carini, Aidan Coleman, right out the back. Tony Ennis on the far side.
Flight 4 will be next, 4 of the 10. And over and in front still Bourbon Beauty. Misty Whiskey, I thought, didn't jump that brilliantly. Has dropped back to about 4th place. Towards the back, Alpha Carini is still towards the rear. Also in rear is Paris Dixie and Butsbury Lady, 2 of the Henderson runners towards the back. Meanwhile, Bourbon Beauty leads towards the next from Dr. Dina in 2nd place. Over in 3rd to the outside, Honeymoon has always been prominent. Just followed 3 and 4th by Lily Pedlar. Then comes Kilmington Rose, is not that far away, for Harry Cobden. And then Misty Whiskey to the outside, Rose of Arcadia, a bit worse than midfield, with Marada for Bridget Andrews. No winner for Harry Skelton up at Kelso so far today. Bit on the side is next, and then comes Paris Dixie as they jump the next over on the far side. Butsbury Lady, and still last is Alpha Carini, held up by Aidan Coleman. Just like to niggle though, I'm not sure he's that happy on Alpha at the back. Bit on the side also coming off the bridle, Dave.
That's an indication, I think, that the pace is now starting to hot up. What are we, 4 out, I think, a little bit. This will suit Rose of Arcadia, I think, a bit. Misty Whiskey, G, jumping better today.
Yeah, she put in a few decent leaps. There was one mistake in there. I'm quite happy with the way that my selection's going here. Marada, she's travelling up quite eye-catching.
Desperate not to make his move too soon, isn't he?
The problem is that, they, like you say, they haven't gone that fast and they might kick off the front here, but you're back there with me, Dave, so
I am.
Alongside the favourite.
What a terrible place to be, but we are together. Out the back, Honeymoon, Tony Ennis. Could this be another in-your-pocket shout from the Enzo? Let's find out.
She's going all right, isn't she, in 2nd place, but Rose of Arcadia still moving well. Many chances here as they head towards the home turn. This long run into the straight now. It's Bourbon Beauty in front to Honeymoon in 2nd.
Cranked it up, haven't they? They've really cranked it up.
Gee, you're really catching the eye here on Marada.
I hope so.
Yeah, I don't fancy Misty Whiskey. I think she's come off the bridle, isn't she? Back in about 5th.
Rose of Arcadia.
Going well. JJ Jr.'s going well, isn't he? Kilmington Rose not been asked
3
yet.
out then.
3 left to jump. Bourbon Beauty in front. Honeymoon, not sure about her now. Like the Rose of Arcadia.
Come on, good jump, Rose.
Jumped it well for John Joe. Goes into 4th behind Lily Pedlar, who's 3rd. Then Marada 5th. Followed by Dr. Dina. Ridden along Kilmington Rose and Paris Dixie. Misty Whiskey has gone. Looks like she's going to pull up Misty Whiskey.
I think we might. It was a terrible place to be, G, but we're going to fight it out, I think.
Maybe.
Marada's going well. Looks the danger to Rose of Arcadia as they head towards the 2nd last. Still Bourbon Beauty in front, though. Makes a mistake. Far side Marada. Honeymoon's there. Rose of Arcadia now. John Joe just starts to niggle to her.
Come on then, John Joe. What you got?
The final flight. Bourbon Beauty still in front. Marada's chasing now. Here's the Rose towards the near side. Rose of Arcadia.
Do me. I can't
Bourbon
believe it.
Beauty still in front though at the last. Marada's going well though in 2nd place. Here comes Bridget
This is
Andrews
for pleasure though, isn't it?
Keeps finding his Bourbon Beauty still there. Marada's got about 2 lengths to find towards the near side. It's Bourbon Beauty in front, trying to make all for Harry Bannister and Alex Hales. Yeah. She's going to do it, I think, isn't she? Bourbon Beauty, look at that, how tough. Marada will try one more time, but Bourbon Beauty's going to see it out. Made just about all. 2nd Marada, they were well clear of 3rd Lily Pedlar, tight 4th Honeymoon, and Rose of Arcadia didn't get home.
Did not stay the fav. Wow. Okay, that was the Grade 2 Mares final. So good to have the jumpers back on this afternoon. Drama abounds as Bourbon Beauty pours it on out there. Harry Bannister, the front-running jockey of the season thus far. For pleasure, we saw him tear off around Cheltenham in the November meeting. Did it in the Supreme Novice Hurdle. Lasted home. Alex Hales takes a decent prize. Great guy, Alex Hales. Absolutely delighted for him. 86-day break. Obviously, the plan wasn't great 2 out. Just kept on going. Gee, I feel for you, man.
Marada, she took the winner
Bridget Andrews, had she had a better pace to run at, that was him, wasn't it?
Very disappointing that Marada didn't go and pick her up. I thought that there was only one winner coming to the last.
She was close enough at the last.
Yeah, she had a good enough chance. Just couldn't pick up and then coming right back at the line. But
just that moment, just from the back of the last, for the 100 yards start of the run, it didn't do enough, did it?
No.
Just sort of
wasn't an instant burst. No. That's what you need. When those horses are on the bridle, you need that instant burst. She just didn't have it.
Could you kicked her on maybe a bit earlier?
Maybe. Maybe.
Close but no cigar for Monsieur Rodway. Let's go to Marc Hryhorskyj because Marada must have gone low.
Yeah, actually, I thought this one would have run a bit shorter. It's kind of just £16 matched at 1.42. Most of the money done at 1.48. The winners actually hit 60s in running for a few quid as well. Yeah. And Rose, our selection, Dave, Rose of Arcadia, is actually even money for three figures as well. And that one didn't find much off the bridle, but I agree with Graeme there. I thought that one would have traded maybe around 1.2, 1.25, but only done for £16 at 1.42 there.
Wow, okay. Rose of Arcadia did not get home. That keenness undoing. Were you with G screaming at the telly, cruising? Nice man, Murata, isn't she? Probably not another Roxana, but there's a good one in there. But fair play for the Bourbon Beauty. Did you stick in running with Harry Bannister? He does get these fractions just right. That bids farewell then to Newbury. We've also had Kempton, but it's time for the last race, would you believe it? It is the Camage. One of the, I suppose this is a start, guys, of the exciting journey that the sprinters have ahead of them. We've got a Group 1 turf sprint in May down at the moment, so no Space Blues. He was turned over there today. We've got bigger guns to come out, Oxted and the likes. However, this over the years has often thrown up a winner that can go to something like the Abanan at the Guineas meeting. And of course, we've got what I call the godfather of the sprinters, Brando, the horse on figures. He's brilliantly named now as a 9-year-old, isn't he? Gee, you liked that one, didn't you?
Well, yeah, he's been around forever, hasn't he, the old Brando? There's no doubt about it.
Marlon, we should call him.
He'll absolutely win, won't he, if he produces that run at Ascot. Yeah. But that's a big if, I think.
It's a big if. And Marc Hryhorskyj, the final race of the day then. But a pleasure to have you along so far for your debut, Marc. Brando, he's been weak all the way, all day, hasn't he?
Yeah, it was as short as 9-4 in the sportsbook yesterday, and he was actually my lay selection here. But obviously, I wouldn't be touching him at 7.6 to lay here. Just Frank's been quite strong in the betting, but obviously the most notable one is David O'Mara's Summer Gan Hand. I mean, that's 4.8. That was as big as 8-1, 9-1 in places. But how we're going to play this one is the selection is we're going to take Just Frank. We're going to do a back to lay in running here. This one obviously stepped up markedly from his first two runs at Pontefract and Redcar in June 2020. Won impressively at first on the 14th of September, and obviously stepped up and had a very easy win in the 150 Tatterstalls October Auction Stakes at Newmarket on the 3rd of October, making all winning by 4.5 lengths. I think you want to be with the pace here, so I think this looks a solid back to lay. So what we'll do is we'll have a £25 back on Just Frank's, currently 6.8, which I think is a fair enough price, and then we'll put an in-running lay of we'll go for 4.2. We'll go for 3.5. Go for a 5-2. So 25 on the win, 6.8, and then we'll lay this off at 5-2, 3.5 and running.
Wow. Okay, there you go. Just Frank. 3-year-olds, I looked at the record for this. You don't often associate 3-year-olds with Just Frank is, of course, in this race. 0 from 8, I think they are, but I can definitely see the pace. He's just a scalded cat, this chap, Enzo. He
is, yeah. Great to see Les Ayre have a runner in a race like this as well. He's been around for a long time, Les, but this is a tough horse. I watched some of his 2-year-old performances, that good run at Newmarket in that sales race. The Thirsk performance was solid. He's interesting. Lewis Edmonds as well, a jockey I do rate, so I can see the angle with Just Frank here. I was against Brandon. I can't believe Brandon was like 5-2, 11-4. I was looking at last night. I think that's too short. But as you say, do you want to lay him at sort of 6-1 now? It's probably too big to lay. Emirati Anna, Kevin Stott now rides. Obviously, no Andrea. Had some okay form. Of course, for Jim Pratt winner a long time ago, so had gelding up, wind up, had so many operations, this horse, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
There's got to be a worry about him. A couple of others I thought were interesting. Royal Commando, I'd give a bit of a chance to at double figure odds. For Charlie Hills, I think there's more to come from him. He won his maiden at Doncaster, and the dry ground should be good. He ran in that Commonwealth Cup. I thought he ran quite well in that actually last year. So I think Royal Commando at a price I'll be looking at, but Just Frank otherwise would be my 2. Summergand, I liked him, but he's short enough now, isn't he? At under 4-1.
Yeah, that's probably because the man sitting next to you suggested yesterday early on that this was your bet of the weekend. This is your Saturday banker.
Yes, I'm very confident about this one because I think it's fairly straightforward. You've got a lot of horses here that are coming off a long break. Now, I know that a few of them have won this recently, but I think there weren't many who were coming in off the sort of form that Summergand's been showing on the all-weather. RPR's of 114 on his last 2 starts. Would be good enough to beat every one of these horses, bar Brando, should Brando turn up on his Ascot form. And I think that's a huge question mark about whether he will do that. Whereas I think we can be fairly certain that that Summergan's going to run to 114. I think that'd be more than good enough to win this race.
Well, if that's the case, yeah, absolutely. You can see why there was a plunge. A lot of people with you. He's a very popular horse, Summergand, as well. Obviously, Stewards Cup and all that sort of thing. Bruce Millington's favourite sprinter out there.
Your argument is he needs everything to drop right.
I think things have to click into place for him, and he's a horse that I don't back under 4-1 for that reason. Because
He wins very often, doesn't he?
He's an each way horse for me. He always is. I really love Summergand. He seems to be around.
I remember thinking that about him in a sort of strange little listed race at Pontefract last season. I thought, oh, this won't suit him, and he went off a short price and he got the job done there. So.
He did. You're right. Yes, absolutely right. That was after he caught the eye. Was that after Hryhorskyj, wasn't it? That was his in-between run, I think, between that and Goodwood, wasn't it? And Doncaster is a track he likes, and we've seen Orban run well for the O'Mara team in the Lincoln, haven't we? So, drawn 5, you're right in the middle, basically. Plenty of options for David Nolan. At the prices, I think it's a bit insulting that Brando's gone all the way out. Stable Confidence wasn't knocked when I sent a message there yesterday. The 9-year-old, an 8-year-old has won this, so Chief of Chiefs has got to have a chance. No 9-year-old I could find, but on the figures, maybe this will set him up for a return to his beloved rolling mile meeting. But I just think if he can tag on to a leader, Brando, and the paces are. I mean,
you like him, don't you, Dave?
I do. I just love the horse.
Brando, don't you?
I do. The Godfather.
Feeling off you that you just think he's going to do the business today.
Again, they think he's better in a bigger field now, don't they? Because probably got a lot to do with him. But he's kicking, bucking and screaming at home. Kevin Ryan's had 5 runners in this race. 4 have placed. What is he in the place market now, Marc Brando? That might be the angle.
Yeah, in the free place market, Dave, I mean, he's currently at 2.46 to lay. So just below 6-4, and obviously if you're looking for the 4-place mark on the additional place on the exchange, I mean he's 1.91, or I mean we're looking around the 4-5 mark here. So if you think he's fit and he's ready to go, you're just getting below even money in the 4-place market here, and he is top rated, but it would be quite concerning to see that sort of drift in the market. There's been a bit of money for the other with the Kevin Ryan, Emiratana, Kevin Stott on board. I mean that one was double figure prices, and 8.6 to back, 8.88 to lay now. And another notable one is Jamie Spencer, Chief of Chiefs. I mean, that one's went under the radar a little bit here. A bit to find, in my opinion. But that was about 16s, 18s this morning. That's into around 11-1 on the Betfair Exchange just now. Got just under, it was 280,000 matched at the market. But there's a lot of money for Graeme Selection Summergand here. I mean, that's 4.8. This one could potentially go 4.57 to 2. A lot of money on this one.
Yes, of course. It has been all one-way traffic in the market then for David O'Mara's 7-year-old Summergand. Stewards Cup winner in a Camage trophy. You're looking down these horses, aren't you? Have your memories of previous racing. Chief of Chiefs, whenever I hear his name, I do the old Clouseau, so the eye goes a little bit. Because one of my naps of Hryhorskyj last year was Nahar.
The Silver Woking.
Oh!
He get beat by Chief of Chiefs.
And Chief of Chiefs, he just went a bit too soon, didn't he, James? James Doyle. Everything was coming up the rail that day. Fast ground. We were all on. Rob Lee in the studio was absolutely all over that. I was screaming him home just before we came on air, and Chief of Chiefs came ranged up William Buick and somehow out of nowhere absolutely did it. But very good horse on his day, Chief of Chiefs. Let's get some more viewer interaction coming up. Who's joining us on the screen? Craig Ruddock. I know he's a big fan of yours, G, by the way, Craig Ruddock.
Great.
Somehow. Expecting Emirati Anna to find a few pounds this year for being gelded. You like Emirati Anna?
Yep. I thought the runs last year were pretty good. I think we're banking on the ops working, aren't we? All the operations, the wind, the gelding, the very unkind.
Yeah. Everything needs to fall into place. But, last of 8... when last seen, in the Nunthorpe, but this is a massive drop in class.
It is, isn't it? I mean, obviously behind Batash had no chance against that horse. But yeah, I thought it was a really tough race, to be honest. It wouldn't be a race I'd be having a bet in. I think it's impossible.
One on his debut, Emirati Anna. He's got the class, basically. Then Craig out there for you, says Enzo. Manny Draycott, regular contributor, comes in and says, stick with Summergand, another one I keep following. You're with G then as well. It's sort of doing the Lincoln thing with you, aren't they? The herd mentality is coming. You are the leader in the Lincoln. You're Eastern World.
Yeah.
We know what happens at the business.
What happened there, yeah. I'm still waiting for my first winner, aren't I?
Same.
Maybe this will be it.
Same. Having said that, I was with the Rosebury winner, but I sort of talked myself into a bigger stake on the second that day. But yeah, it's one of these weekends, guys, isn't it, where you see the ball big, looking at Mayday, looking at Australia, looking all over the place. You're like, wow, so much to aim at. But a real reminder that safe gambling is what it's all about at this stage of the year. I won't say season, because we're late in the jump season now, aren't we? When do you start thinking, G, that it becomes silly season, as Tom Segal famously used to say in his prize wise, where the form just starts going crazy, horses over the top, had too many runs, the ground changing, etc.?
Well, anything after Aintree, I think. And
so we're not there yet, are we?
And sometimes Aintree itself can be a little bit muddling in that sense, can't it? How many times
Cheltenham form going to Aintree is one of the great debates.
How many times have you gone into Aintree and thought, right, a lot of horses had hard races at Cheltenham, then all the Cheltenham winners win? And you're like, oh.
It's a normal sort of gap, isn't it, between Cheltenham and Aintree?
Is it? I thought it was fairly short.
No. It's 3 weeks, isn't it? So that's about right. It's usually about 3 weeks.
Yeah. April 8, 9 and 10, isn't it?
Because April can be the first weekend sees the Grand National weekend. It depends when Easter is, of course. So coming up next weekend, of course. And as promised, a little bit more freedom coming your way. But stick with us here on RP Live. We love bringing it to you. Of course, you can watch us on any device. That's one of the great things about the show. And we will have a crack along the way. All about having fun. That's what it's all about. We've had Marc Hryhorskyj make his Betfair debut on the show. Marc, remind us of your final trade in the Camage.
Yeah, our trade where we're looking at just Frank, we've got £25 bet on around 6.6, 6.8. He's actually took a little bit of a drift here at 7.4. I'm not massively alarmed because I do think this one will go forward and we'll be able to get the lay-in running around 5-2. But there seems to be a little money for Royal Command. I mean, that's into 8.6. I mean, we're looking around 7-1. Emirat Anna's very strong in the betting as well. And Summerhand's starting to take a little bit of a walk, near enough out to 5.7, around the 5-1 mark. But in Brando as well, I mean, this one hasn't really moved. So I don't think that they can make their mind up with that one. But it does look wide open. And obviously you've got Tis Marvellous in there as well. There's a little bit of money from that, 12s into 9.8. So it does look massively wide open here. With
the stable line from Kevin Ryan, basically couldn't put you off. It's just, is he better? The more runners around him, those big fields nowadays, then anything above 6-1 was absolute madness, I think, for Brando. So no surprise that he sort of plateaued, found his price. Other horses to mention, Tis Marvellous, touched off in this race before, but he's well named, this horse. Steve Barrows, fellow Watford fan like me, is owner. And it's just he's caught in between 5 and 6 furlongs, so that's why he loves Ascot so much. For 5 furlongs,
he's a pretty fast horse.
He is. That's another pace angle in there. He's drawn 7 on the Kirby.
Yeah, I think he could run really well. But like you say, I think Ascot may be his track and maybe not Doncaster. But I don't know. We'll see. I hope there is a good pace on because Summer Gamble will need it.
Well, the outside of the lot under Kieran Fallon drawn in 1, which I'm hoping for Brando drawn in 2, he has shown a tendency to just go one way, and that's from the front. So Extraordinaire could be your pace angle. Marc was mentioning money for your sneaky selection here. Royal
Commando, yeah, a little bit of money for this horse.
King of the sprinters almost, isn't he?
Yeah,
Charlie Hills.
Charlie Hills, yeah. He's Tash et al. But
yeah, and Doncaster as well. Barry Hills obviously was a link there. He used to have
yeah.
loads winners at Donny, didn't he? Maybe
Donny was his always a Lincoln plunger.
His stomping ground there in Chester, wasn't it? Barry Hills. Loved there in Chester.
Great memories.
Really
Can't wait for Chester to come back. Of course, they cocooned themselves, didn't they?
Great track, isn't it, Chester?
Yeah. Unless we can have fans, we will not race, said Chester, of course. So and there's a bit of a theory, isn't there? These tracks that were enforced absence last year, the ground's going to be superb. So cannot wait for the Chester May meeting and crowds back at Chester. That would be one of the, along with Windsor on a Monday night, the Rudy would be one place that I want to go.
Really
this
does
year.
get busy there, doesn't it?
Oh, I love it.
Great track.
Oldest racecourse in the world, isn't it?
Maybe.
It is, isn't it? Roman
right on the walls, isn't it? Yeah.
I believe it is. Let me know if I'm wrong out there. Someone on Wiki going, that Orton's got to be wrong. I'm pretty sure it is Chester. We're waiting for Chief of Chiefs to go in the last. What an enjoyable day it's been. I'm going to enjoy this one. Tony Ennis called home the sprinters.
Kevin Stott bringing Emirati Anna in. That's the rider change. Royal Commando will be next. Lord North was impressive, by the way, in that Dubai turf.
He won another one for Thady.
John and Thady, 5 winners and 1 second. What a start to their training career. Al Miguel, the only defeat so far. Extraordinary. They've got 2 more runners today.
Keep rubbing that one in, don't you? Love it.
They've got 2 more runners to come. They've got a run at Wolverhampton tonight, very interesting, and 7 to win the maiden. Right, let's get back to this. Brando, come on, you should know about this. He always has the blindfold on, doesn't he, Brando? He's got it on again. All in. Ready for the Camage, they're off. 6 furlongs up the straight course. Emirati Anna broke well. Tis Marvellous was out quite well too. The 3-year-old, Just Frank, He's right up there again towards the fence. Extraordinaire drawn low is handy too, but up front it's Just Frank, who's a speedball, who's going to go on for Les Ayres and Lewis Edmonds and lead Emiratiana by a length. Extraordinaire is going to sit third. Fourth place then for Ainsdale. Fifth, Tis Marvellous. Sixth for Royal Commando. Seventh, Mr. Lupton. Eight, Chief of Chiefs. Towards the back are Brando and Summergan, two of the big guns. Last and second last at this stage. They head down towards halfway already, and it's Just Frank who blazes a trail to Emiratiana in second. Ridden along Extraordinaire. Right up there too is Ainsdale. Tis Marvellous. Royal Commando moving quite well. Chief of Chiefs is next, and then Mr. Lupton. They head down for the final quarter mile. Summergan's going to have to pass them all.
Let's go in the brave man's route right up the
Both
inside
catching
here
the
on
eye. Brando's making his move. Summergan's got no run.
What's he doing?
Come on, Brando. Come on, the Godfather. Could you just do it?
Emiratiana struck the front.
She's catching the eye. No run.
No, Royal Commando it is. Royal Commando for
boy,
Charlie
Brando,
Hills and Kieran Schumacher, who's gone on now to Emiratiana, who's trying to come back. Then Brando, Summergan, surely too much to do. It's Royal Commando. They back this one for Charlie Hills and Kieran Schumacher, and he's going to run out a ready winner of the Camage Trophy. Royal Commando. Emiratiana just second, Brando third, Summergan fourth.
Wow. Okay, so much to pick out of that. Some hard luck stories in there. I don't think, well, he was frustrated in the last race. Not looking forward to going to G-Rod here because Summergan all dressed up with nowhere to go, Mr. Rodway.
Yeah, I just don't think he picked up in the way that everyone was hoping, and he was disappointing, wasn't he, in the end? He never really at any stage looked like winning, I didn't think.
Draw race?
Possibly.
They have this time gone hard against the rail.
Kieran Schumacher was good though here, wasn't he? I mean, he was a bit more dialed in, I thought. The likes of, Kirby was... David Nolan gave Summergan a lot to do, didn't he, I thought, for starters.
Why did you pick this one out? Because a lot of people are looking at the form figures going, what did they
Commonwealth Cup run. Commonwealth Cup run. Fourth in that. It's always a brilliant race at Royal Ascot. Yeah.
Golden Horde.
I mean, it's good form, isn't it? 190 days off. Charlie Hills loves, as he says, his old man used to love to have winners up here. I just thought it was a bit of a flyer at a price, and he's delivered the goods.
Emiratiana drawn 8. The second string, I think we can say that of Kevin Ryan Giles, were an absolute blinder. Well done out there. I can't remember who sent it. It was Craig Ruddett, I think, wasn't it? Of course, he's run a blind. Let's hope you played him for the places. Craig, he's won a really good race. He should only come on with that. Brando, you can see, G, why they were saying the stable about bigger field. He just got no cover early, did he? But the moment he sort of found his way in amongst horses, he hit top gear. All about the Abernant now for him. Yeah,
I'm sure that's where he'll be going. He's got a good record in that race, hasn't he? So that will tee him up nicely for that.
Really good run from him, I think. Yeah.
It was a strange race in a way, wasn't it? Because Just Frank went a million miles up front.
Too quick, wasn't he?
Yeah, you thought, oh well, those a long way behind were going to come, but they never really got into their stride, and really, he was always in the right spot, wasn't he, Kieran Schumacher?
Mr. Lupton as well. He was going well. What happened to him? He just never got a run.
He's not run bad, Just Frank, I think, on the rail. It's a tough race for 3-year-olds, and 0 from 9. And they're 101. I don't know, maybe later in the season, maybe a bit. I don't know, Summergan, it looked like one of those things where had he got a run early, G, and found himself in amongst horses and furling out, he's not slammed the line. But this is what I meant about him. This is that's a typical Summergan run for me. He needs things to just go right. Yeah, maybe, but maybe that is... Has that taken the stuffing out of you? Marada was the one, I think, that really gave me a bit of a kicking. But that one was a bit disappointing. But I wonder if it's up here again with Summergan. He does wear pieces, doesn't he, of course? Well, with the jockeys, though. I wonder if they get it in their head, well, this horse needs to be ridden in a certain way, and we need to make it as complicated as possible and get him there late. Do you have to run? Do you have to ride him like that? I don't think so. I think once you sit sort of third or fourth, it's a lot easier, isn't it? You tend to jump onto things that you see, the way that the racing transforms. Mr. Lupton there was absolutely cruising. And Mr. Lupton, we've all backed Mr. Lupton. He actually came good again, didn't he? 8-year-old now. He's found nothing after travelling. Like Space Traveller, I wonder if Richard Fahey's turf horses are going to need it for the first couple. You jump onto horses that might have wintered better than others, but certainly Charlie Hills absolutely in clover. The Old Firm then takes it out. Great ride there. Indeed it was, actually, the more you look at that, by Kieran Schumacher. The final race then here on RP Live. Let's go to Marc Hryhorskyj, the debutant, for his final market story.
Yeah, Summergan didn't hit lower than 4.7 here. I think it was a bit of a strange ride, found a bit of traffic. And Brando has actually hit 3.65 in running here for small money, around £14. And also, I think the way this race sort of unfolded is when the winner, Royal Commando, sort of got past Just Frank and Emiratiana, he quickly went 1.32 in running for good money. And the race was pretty much sewn up then. But it'll be good to maybe get rid of that camera angle. But I think, as I say, as soon as Royal Commando, Kane Schumacher, good ride, picked up the front two, and it was gone. It was all over.
Thank you very much. Marc. You'll be back, Marc, of course. You've enjoyed yourself. You've given some great trade, showcased the functionality of the exchange. Happy to have you, my man.
Yeah, obviously it's been a pleasure. Appreciate your time, Dave, Graeme and Enzo. Hopefully next time we can maybe get another winner, or I can maybe find a dragon bone somewhere. I thought I could potentially have that with pressure luck, but I just went down about a length for that one. You
were thrown into the deep end, of course, for finding winners with your debut. Great to have Marc on from Betfair. Enns, good to have you back, my man.
Yeah, it's been
Not
good.
back for the National, but we'll see you soon, no doubt.
Yeah, I think end of April I'm back. The big race at Sandown, the
365
Gold Cup. Yeah, looking forward to that. But don't forget, Mishriff is running soon as well in Maidan.
Oh, is that just after we go off? And we've got the Dubai World Cup as well, haven't we? Lord North won then. So
impressive as well.
Was he?
Oh wow, you flew home. He's going to be
a fresh horse though. That's one thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Something you said, G, wasn't it? I think could he just tell off? Listen, we've seen one of the poster boys at Maidan. G, I know the stuffing's been taken out of you, man, but you can't keep a good man down.
It was one of those days, Dave, where you come in with so much high expectations and you walk out with your tail between your legs. Sometimes that can happen to you.
Absolutely, it can. We all know that feeling. Thank you for watching. Thanks to the guys in the gallery, Will and Rob, for steering us this way. So enjoy the week. The sunshine's coming. We'll be back for the flat action this time next week.